Welcome to The Watching Dead, the officially unofficial podcast for The Walking Dead on AMC. I'm Jim.
And I'm Aaron.
Take this out, but my camera is way tilted.
It's the Dutch angle, man. That's how we know you're a bad guy. I'm Batman over here, and you're over hanging out the Joker and the Riddler, fucker.
What up? No, come on. Come on, man.
Also, why we're breaking the whatever fifth wall. What's going on? Why we're breaking the fifth wall here. Sorry about running late. We just had so much... What's going on? So much feedback to consider. It took me forever to compile it.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to make the wieners... Wait, I'm touching one shelf too high.
Yeah, that's way wrong.
There, that's right? The middle shelves are touching. Wait, do you need to go this way?
No, we're good. We're good.
I got your trash in the...
It's great. This is what people tune in for.
That is.
This shit right here.
It is. That's a true statement. Shit. Fuck, it's right back where it was. Got your trash cup of destiny there.
Trash cup, what are you talking about? This is full of iced tea, man.
I don't. So is that level
iced
for
tea
you?
Like, no, look at this thing.
I can't. I'm trying to level it from the side. What the fuck?
Level it from
All right. Is this right?
That's better. That's better.
Better?
Yeah. Then that's good. It's good.
Clearly going for perfection here. Shelves touching in the middle.
Good stuff right here.
I'm just gonna constantly kick your stand.
Well, two can play that game, buddy. All right. Are we ready?
I don't know.
Are we ready?
This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this recording and start over.
Oh, logo time!
I got about 4 seconds.
Logo time. That's professional.
Welcome to The Watching Dead, the officially unofficial podcast for The Walking Dead on AMC. I'm Jim.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are talking about Season 5, Episode 13, titled Forget.
Indeed.
What do you think of this episode?
Another good one.
After a second viewing.
Another good one.
Okay.
I feel like they've hit a home run here with Alexandria as a setting.
All right. I liked it. Second viewing, there were some things that annoyed me.
Huh. Well, I think there's always going to be things that annoy me. Which of course,
okay,
being
you just
this
come to terms
podcast,
with it.
we'll talk about it. But no, I was enjoying it the second time through.
Okay, I did too. And there are a lot of good scenes in here, and overall, thematically, I kind of like what they're doing. But some of the themes they're rehashing again and again are starting to wear thin on me. And
sure,
we'll
Jesse's whole party scene. Was stupid, and I could go my whole life without hearing about how the world is and how people are changed and
what kind of person you need to be to survive in it. Like Abraham's speech to Michonne kind of is just.
I mean that's
funny, but
yes, at least it was entertaining. But yeah,
we know you can't be the farmer. We know you can't be Shane. You got to be a synthesis. I get it. They've been saying this for seasons now. Right. I don't like to be hit over the head again with it every single episode.
Well, wear a helmet. I don't think it's going away.
Apparently not. Yeah. So who made this episode?
This episode is directed by David Boyd, who was kicking around as a cinematographer for a lot of stuff before he became a director for television. And he's been doing just a ton of stuff. He's directed 5 episodes of Walking Dead over the past 4 seasons. He's also all up in the new 12 Monkeys for Sci-Fi. He did Constantine for NBC. He's doing Sleepy Hollow, The Night Shift, filmed in the ABQ, a couple episodes of Revolution, Friday Night Lights. He did 6 episodes, so quite an accomplished small screen director. And Corey Reed, who has 2 writing credits for The Walking Dead, a few for Da Vinci's Demons, and a few for Medium.
Okay,
so a little bit shakier there, but honestly, I thought did a great job.
Yeah, did a pretty good job. They're like, I think the scene with Jesse, like a lot of the dialogue just felt a little too cute, maybe for its own good. Like that stuff with Michonne where she's like,
no, it was Apocalypse Paint by numbers.
You know, Rick's saying, do we need to be people for now or then? And she's like, then is now. And like, I thought that was a little too cute. But yeah, overall, not bad.
Okay.
Not bad. I liked it. Okay, let's get into the recap, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
We start off with Sasha laying awake looking at pictures of people in the house. I can't tell if these are people who either were in the town or currently are in the town, or if they're stock photos.
So I don't think it really matters, except
Mhm.
for obviously if this were people in the town and she got caught shooting them, that would be
yeah,
that'd be some crazy times. But
sure.
Either way, I mean, I wasn't sure. I mean, she's clearly suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yeah, she takes him out to the woods, she shoots him, and she's looking around really weird.
And she's hearing zombies. She's saying, "Come get me," which I'm not exactly sure.
I feel like she's trying. She's turning into what Michonne was.
Yeah,
just this badass killing machine that is just really not comfortable with this new lifestyle at all.
And also, they do a good job of introducing the concept of her having a hard time dealing with people talking about walking around their cell phones and, oh, how freaky will it be if it rings one day? It's like, well, how freaky will it be if zombies come bust down these walls and eat you alive, bitch?
Yeah.
That's
Where's
Sasha.
your cell phone now?
You can tell it's like wearing on her every single time she has one of these interactions. And we get to the party, which, as several emailers pointed out, seemed like a bad idea to throw. But the one thing I'm trying to get a handle on is exactly how much zombie experience the average person in Alexandria have.
Okay.
Because they're kind of setting up this situation where, and they lampshade it with Rick saying, these are the fucking luckiest people we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I'm getting the opinion that aside from the people that go out for supply runs and Aaron, everyone here is very much
hold on, reboot.
What?
My computer rebooted.
Oh, Jesus. This is 2 weeks in a row. What the fuck?
I think my battery's dying.
Oh.
I've had the warning message comes up and says, something wrong with your battery. You need to replace it.
But you're plugged in.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't think that would matter. But I imagine still drawing from the battery, right?
Oh, my God. How much do you think we lost?
I doubt we lost much of anything. Last time we didn't. We'll see, though.
Goddamn.
More
Apple
sausage.
Products.
More sausage.
So is that something you can replace on your own, or do you have to ship that off to the Apple factory? You have to take it to a genius.
I gotta take
an Apple genius who is qualified to.
I don't know. I haven't
to screw their proprietary screws.
Haven't looked into it. Come on, Steam. Get out of my face.
I was looking at my Surface the other day, and I have no idea how to take it apart. There is no external endpoints into it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's all hung together by friction. You touch it and it just springs apart.
It might.
Like an old-timey wind-up wristwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Some springs.
Like the music box that Maggie has.
Well, maybe Daryl can fix it for me.
All right, let's see what we lost.
All right.
We lost it all.
Seriously?
Oh, no, hold on. I pulled in the wrong clips here.
I mean, we've had worse.
Oh, yeah, we've recorded entire 2-hour podcasts.
It's been many a year since we've had to do a fake record a whole new podcast. Oh, geez.
Yep. We really have to figure out the tech situation here. That's it.
So how far back? Where do we go next?
We didn't really go anywhere. We went to
we were
talking about Sasha still, I think.
Did I talk about whoever's, I forget the lady, is it Lydia? Who's running this?
I think it's Olivia. But it's hard to hear.
Did you get my rant about her basic bitchness?
No, I think the cell phone part was lost. So we got to talk about that.
Okay, so play me the last 10 seconds of that.
Play a little more. I'll connect here. Yeah, she takes him out to the woods. She shoots him, and she's looking around really weird. She's hearing zombies. She's saying, "Come get me," which I'm not exactly sure.
That's where it cuts out.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Okay.
Hold on. Can't get to my notes now. What the fuck, man?
It's a fucking mess over there. Hey, have you come across a leg of boar? in your travails through your desktop, could you bring me back one?
Sure.
Why don't you make some borschato? Borschato.
Waiting
Boar
for
bruschetta.
drive.
Bruschetta boar.
Thrilling, I know. Got all these viewers. Entertain the people, man, while I'm doing this shit.
Do you want me to juggle?
Yeah, juggle some shit. I don't know. Juggle cell phones. I don't know.
Yeah, give me that new iPhone. No, I'll juggle that.
I don't even have a case.
I'll even throw my Android into the mix.
Yeah, you got a case. That's not fair.
You don't trust my hands?
No.
They're deft.
I'm sure they are. Come on, man. What's going on here?
What is going on? Are you splitting the atom over there?
Facebook loads fine. Google won't load.
It's funny because I'm sitting here in Google Docs without a care in the world.
Reload Chrome.
Over Microsoft land.
Drive.google.com. Okay. Rebooted my browser. It worked fine. All right. Back to the outlines. Yeah. How does this sausage taste, audience? Taste the making of the sausage.
It tastes like hog anus and horsehair.
Like boar's leg prosciutto. All right. So are you ready to pick up from where we left off there?
I guess. I really don't know exactly what all. She's hearing zombies. She's saying, come get me, which I'm not exactly sure. When you're ready, come and get it. Nah, 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 nah.
All right. Are we gonna pick up there? Or do you want me to go back some?
Shit. So okay, last 5 seconds, one more time. What's my motivation? She's hearing zombies. She's saying, come get me, which I'm not exactly sure. Maybe you take it.
All right.
Maybe you take it.
All right.
Give me an insertion point here.
Let me see what I said just before that so I don't repeat myself. All right, cool. Yeah, there's something not right about her. She is slowly losing her mind being in this new town.
They're doing a good job of setting her up as, just overwhelmed at the every interaction she has with these people, talking about their fucking cell phones and their boar's leg shanks, and they're getting up early for
favorite
coffee.
Meals and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, to a person like Sasha, someone saying that they're freaking out, they might freak out because a cell phone would ring, is just so inane. And I like the fact that they used her shooting the stock images of these people, or Alexander people, whatever it may be, offset with the genuine moments she had with people. Like, I know, and that happens a lot more in the freak out she has at the party. But
do you find anything interesting with her and Daryl's arcs kind of crossing paths here? With Daryl maybe coming back to civilization a little bit and Sasha being unable to? Yeah,
Daryl. I'm kind of wide open with what I think they were doing with Daryl.
Me too. Yeah,
I was on the big, they'll probably kill Daryl in the next season or so bandwagon. I might be the only one driving that bandwagon. It might be just a single seater. But I don't know. I feel like that I'm backing away from that a little bit. And honestly, I don't know who the core group, if they're going to kill someone. They killed a lot of someone's last year and the first part of this year. I mean, maybe Noah, but I feel like everyone kind of has a story that they're trying to tell. And I don't know who makes the most sense to make go away. Like Daryl's in the middle of something.
Noah.
Now.
Noah has no story, right?
But Noah's not really a main character.
You're
either.
right.
It's like the same thing as like Father Gabriel, who was AWOL this episode.
Yeah.
They can kill him or Eugene or any of those guys because Rosita, they're not doing anything with. But everybody else has kind of an arc.
Yeah.
Maybe Abraham. But no, it was a decent cold open for me.
Okay, cool. So Rick, Daryl, and Carol are hatching a plan out in the woods. They want to get some guns.
Sure.
And they talk about it for a little while. They decide, hey, we're going to try and sneak in there. And they find a walker with a W carved into its head. And they're confused. They're puzzled by that. Are you confused? Are you as confused as they are?
I'm just wondering where, you know, they've been teasing this W Wolf stuff for a while.
Mhm.
I'm kind of wondering where it's going to go now and how,
Yeah.
because we got 3 episodes left. It seems like there's a lot. It's rare for me to say, but there's a lot of stuff that The Walking Dead could do here in the last 3 episodes, and I think they're going to have to. I'm getting a lot of feedback in the spoiler section where people think just a season and a half worth of stuff is going to happen in the next 3 episodes, which I think would be awesome. But I think it's more likely that they'll take 1 or 2 of these big kind of hooks and try to resolve them, and they're going to have to let some of them go.
I don't see them pushing very far into what I think is coming up by the end of this season.
Like, I'm thinking that if we do see the wolves, it'll be like in the last episode, and it'll be a big watershed moment for the group, because this group is kind of patronizing to Rick. You know, you can tell that they're not really taking him serious when he said people are the biggest threat now. And I feel like that they'll have to have a moment where that turns out to be prophetic to move this whole dynamic forward, or else it's just going to be you know, I mentioned the instant cast that this is giving me a real Twilight Zone, like a reverse Twilight Zone where people are in a nightmare and they woke up in like a dreamland. It's also very Fantasy Island.
Okay.
This with like the temptation of Rick, and there's a married woman and I want her. I'm gonna take her.
Yeah, that's getting creepy.
That it is. And Carol like threatening the child. There's like a lot of that darker kind of the darker aspects of Fantasy Island going on here as well.
Oh yeah, we're seeing a darker side to this group, you know. I mean,
but that's only
and it ties into the horse thing too. I mean, the horse isn't just Daryl.
Right.
The horse is kind of everyone, and they're struggling to not lose themselves to this world. But at the same time, the world has infected them in a way that they're turning into the bad people that were outside.
And I think that when you come into a new situation, the writer's like, oh, look at all the thematic things we can do. But that's kind of illusion. You have to eventually get back to a story that you're trying to tell. You can't sit here and wallow in metaphor and, you know, that kind of stuff. And I'm hoping that we have maybe another episode of this, and then they kind of deal with things and move on to some more plot things actually happening. Because not a whole hell of a lot happened from a moving the story forward standpoint this episode.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, they're settling in still, and I feel like one of those main plot things that's going to happen is something between Rick, Jesse, and her husband. So the things are going to blow up there in spectacular fashion, I'm sure. So I don't know. Maybe that'll be next episode, because they need something else besides just we're still settling in.
Yeah, but and I thought the winning over of Daryl, because he's very skeptical of Rick's turn as a cop, but you know, Rick saying these are the luckiest people we've ever met, and they're just keep getting luckier. Daryl seemed pleased by his thing. Well, now we're here. Yeah, because it sets them. I don't know. It simultaneously sets them as the group's protectors, but also they're better than them.
Yeah, and there's another thing Rick says. You know, let the others kind of integrate into this group. We'll be the ones who
we're going to stay hard.
Are still the protectors. Yeah. And so like, I'm kind of surprised that Michonne is not in that group actually.
Well, I think Rick sees her as way too far on the other side of the Kool-Aid barrel.
You think so? Her speech in Richmond was just too much.
And she continues doing it. Like, don't act like this is some kind of, like, we're waiting for the future to come. The future is now.
Yeah. No, you're right.
A little eye rolling on the speech, but I think that she's consistently, and now she, you know, Rick is arming himself covertly. She is making a big show of disarming herself.
After Abraham's drunken speech. Sure. All right.
Still got that plastic sword though.
She does. Yeah, that's backup.
You could do some damage with that.
Tucked into her waistband like Rick's revolver. Anyway, speaking of Michonne, she's examining her new outfit when Rick comes in, and they talk about Deanna and what her plan might be for them. What do you think of Michonne's new outfit? Her constable gear.
I felt like, first of all, you know, again, I conspicuously avoided rereading the storyline in the comics.
Okay.
Which is incidentally about the halfway point. Like, we have reached about 50% through of the comic book material at this point, which I think a lot of people are freaking out, because in my mind, I thought we were kind of you know, 3/4 of the way through. But when you actually look at the numbers of the issues and all that stuff, we're only about halfway through. And I kind of feel like maybe they were playing some homage to this part in the comics too. Because a lot of the, you know, Rick and the deputy thing or the constable thing is kind of right on the comics. And I think that the whole braid, like she's laced up the back and cut out so it fits her better instead of being designed for like a mate, you know, I think that might be an homage to what she did in the comics.
Okay.
And it makes sense.
I don't know anything about that.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
you want to look
she
good.
just looks so weird in that, man. Like we've seen her in this like leather vests and big boots, and it's just been weird to see her in
this is a little bit of echo of Slabtown? Like
how so?
Well, or like it's kind of like another Fantasy Island inversion where Slabtown were former cops that were dressed as cops, but they're really thugs.
Okay.
And now we've got one former cop and one former, I guess, housewife / whatever she was, dressed as police officers, but they're actually embodying the whole serve and protect ethos.
Yeah,
or at least, or maybe go further with that, where Michonne, who was not the former police officer, is fully embracing that. Rick, who was the former police officer, is kind of shaning it up in this episode.
Yeah, a little bit.
That scene at the end is intense.
Okay. Let's move on. Daryl spots Aaron in the woods, and he joins him on his hunt or whatever he's doing. You know, I'm not certain what Daryl is doing out there. Hunting for
Aaron
food,
is
probably possums. I know, but he doesn't say it, and I don't know what he means.
A lot of people made definitive statements about others' motivations and what's actually going on, and didn't decide to share that with us as the viewer.
Yeah.
I guess I'm left to imagine that what Aaron thinks or knows he's doing is he's just out here dicking around because he doesn't want to stay within the walls. Like he has no.
I thought he was hunting possums.
Sure, the most dangerous game. But I mean, he's just kind of dicking around because he doesn't want to be behind them cold rolled bars. I
guess so. All right, we'll go back to Deanna. She has big dreams for the future of Alexandria, which she's telling to Rick and Michonne and Maggie.
But by the way to tell a walker from a human being is walkers are absolutely silent until the camera gets on them, and then they're noisy as hell, whereas humans actually make noises and snap twigs and disturb things. So that's how you tell the difference. Good
on them for the very next episode pointing out the flaws in that wall, right?
Sure.
Like we give them shit, but that's fine. They did the right thing here. You know, obviously they didn't go back and reshoot this between weeks.
Right.
So it's something that they had planned, and they were probably in the writer's room going, oh, wait until they get a load of this.
Yeah, maybe.
They're going to freak out about this wall, and we're going to flip it on them.
Right.
Not us specifically, obviously, but the community at large.
Fine with me, honestly. If they have that kind of level of self-awareness, I think that speaks well for the direction of the show.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Like if they can anticipate stupid shit and avoid or somehow lampshade to make it even more clever, then I'm all for that.
Yep, me too. And we get to see some solar panels here, which was nice to see how they're getting their power for all those cell phones that they're carrying around. Rick takes his guys outside, details some of the modifications they need, and Sasha comes up, says, "Hey, I want to be the clock tower lookout." Deanna wisely says, "No, you're going nowhere near that clock tower for today." I'm putting Spencer up there, which I guess is her other kid.
I remember when a man climbed the clock tower.
I do too.
Didn't end well.
No, he got shocked to death, I think, or nearly to death. Anyway, so she says she'll consider making her the primary lookout later on, but she wants everybody in return to come to her party. She's blackmailing people into going to her party.
Sure. When they get there, it's going to be sprung as a surprise $500 plate. Reelect Deanna as supreme overlord of the community dinner. God damn it!
It's a banquet.
What do you think about her involving Maggie in the pseudo government that's forming? Is that?
I don't have a problem with it.
But is that kind of like what Rick's thesis was, that she's trying to co-opt them?
Well, clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly, I mean, that's what they're doing, right?
But why
co-opting them into the police force, into the government, into all
But why
sorts of
Maggie? Like, I never seen anything in Maggie that made me think, you know what? She needs to lead a community.
Of the people not
like Daryl as a field scout, total sense.
Sure.
Rick as a constable, that makes a lot of sense. Glenn going out on raids and search and find missions, yeah, he's qualified for that.
Maybe the writers just needed someone, and I don't see anyone else in this group who's qualified.
Okay, so just Maggie.
Yeah,
well, Maggie needs something to do. Let's give her something to do.
Yeah, I don't know what Glenn's doing nowadays, but
well, I mean, presumably he's going to be the new strike leader. That would be if they were smart.
Well, yeah.
Get rid of
Aiden wouldn't like that much.
Yeah, Aiden, members only guy.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Rick strolls up and Carol joins him, and he explains that she has to be the one to get the guns because Daryl's busy. Daryl's being watched. He's busy. You got to go get him.
Yep.
And she seems to like that. You know, the thing she likes about living here is that she gets to be invisible again.
Sure. And see it as an actual talent rather than a setback.
Yeah, definitely. We go back to Daryl and Aaron, who spot a horse in a field. He's named Buttons. Aaron's been trying to catch him for months. He's been trying to catch him. Daryl moves in with a rope, and he almost catches him on the first try, but walkers come out of the trees and spook him, and he runs off.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kill the walkers.
Really hit us over the head with the Daryl as horse metaphor.
Oh, my God. Yeah, they did.
Did you know the longer they're out there, the more they become what they really are?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad they said that because I hadn't got the metaphor that they were.
Daryl's an unwashed backwoods hippie, apparently. Because that's what he's become, and he still is.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. He didn't take a shower this episode, did he?
No, he's still got the same grime marks and the same suet and blood and everything on his. Yeah, he's gotten nowhere closer to a bar of soap.
All right. And you know, that's not the only line that they give us that says, "Hey, this is Daryl as the horse." He also says, "You used to be somebody's, now you're just yours."
Right.
I don't know. Daryl also, used to be basically owned by Merle.
Yeah. And also why we're calling out all the themes, I thought it was interesting that they had the zombies going to town on the horse guts. And
not here, but later.
Not here, but later. But we also have Daryl going to town on the spaghetti. Like, I thought that was... No, seriously.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right. I hadn't thought about it, but
that's a little muddying of the metaphor, though, right? Because he is the horse, but he's also the thing that could destroy the horse.
Yeah, I feel like we have an email. I don't know if you're including this in the feedback section, but I talked a little bit about this.
Probably. Yeah, it was brutal. I probably only was able to use about 1/3 of the actual feedback we got this week.
Wow. All right. I do like how the walker gets his tongue caught on a tree and just rips it out. That was pretty amazing.
Zombie kill of the week by the tree?
No, it doesn't kill it. That's for sure.
Is this where they use a cow skull to kill a walker? I thought that was my zombie kill of the week.
I think that's later as well.
Or is it a ram?
It looked like a ram to me. A ram or
oh yeah, because the horse runs off and comes into the Ba Ram U kill happens at the
and Aaron gets tripped.
Closure. Yeah.
Anyway, Carol goes to the gun room to get chocolate and unlatch the window, and there are a couple of goons in there who are picking up guns for some kind of
goons.
Patrol. Yeah, they're goons.
Goons they are.
Look at those guys. They're goons. They're as goony as they come, man.
Hey, he's got a name. His name is Tobin.
All right, well, Tobin's a goon,
and he's got eyes on the Carol.
Yeah, he does. He does. He's trying to swoop in there. Yep. If you ever need any gun training, let me know.
His eyes perked up when she's talking substituting applesauce for eggs. Like, this girl's freaky.
Yep. Then we go back to Aaron and Daryl, and here is the scene where they're stalking Buttons through the field. And Aaron tells Daryl they have a lot in common. Wait, no, this isn't the scene. Sorry, they're in the woods here. They're talking about how people are scared of him for different reasons, obviously. And he advises Daryl to go to Deanna's party so people can get to know him.
They need to know him. Although I thought that Daryl had a good point where I've met a lot of bad people out there. They ain't afraid of shit. And Aaron comes back with, yeah, they were. And again, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
so much of this is assumed meaning, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it's pretty clear that like the Terminus people were afraid of being taken advantage of like they were at the beginning. The governor was afraid of losing control, I guess.
And all the people in this town are afraid of Aaron's gayness.
I guess they might catch the gay.
I mean, that's what he was saying. Yeah.
Well, right.
That they're afraid of him because he's a homosexual.
Sure. But because East Coast United States is known for it's a bastion, last bastion of homophobia in the United States.
Is it? I don't know about that.
No, I don't think it is, but whatever.
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I just thought that was another. I'm not sure I was following where they were trying to go with her. Like, what was Joe afraid of? Like, there's the real monsters you meet out there are just sons of bitches.
I wonder if this is a symptom of Aaron not having been out that much, like getting only 50 miles out, not running into a lot of people, not running into a lot of bad people. They've only had to remove 3 people from their community.
But he's also very savvy about the whole stranger danger thing. Like, he is.
You're right.
He's very oddly worldly,
but they're playing it at the same
time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it was a little bit of that. Like, Daryl has met the real bad guys,
sure,
whereas Aaron maybe hasn't.
And Eric has been going out there with him, but Eric is still very, like, however much you buy Aaron as a post-apocalyptic warrior.
Yeah.
Eric, they're very clearly drawing a line there and saying, no, whatever Aaron's got is not rubbed off on him, to the point that Aaron's scared to death that he's out there with him.
Yeah, you can't tell me that
he's spraining his ankle, hiding under tractors and shit like that.
Getting caught under lawn furniture.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that Mrs. Niedermeyer is the only one who wants this pasta maker. Come on. Come on. I see through that shit. People start arriving at Deanna's party, and Rick comes in with his group. Judith and Carl and Michonne and everybody. People start coming in, like Abraham and Rosita. And Rosita's lost the Tomb Raider costume.
Sure.
That's gone. She's looking more civilized, I guess.
Sure. And Abraham's come in like Ron Swanson.
You're right. He's in a button-up polo.
He's got the long sleeve polo with the collar tucked into his pants. He's in full Swanson mode.
Yeah.
Got the mustache.
And he's just immediately zoning in on the beer. Like, at least if I have to be here, I'm going to take advantage of their liquor supply.
Sure. He's going to. They have beer. I'm going to try to make this work. I'm going to try to use my relationship with alcohol as a proxy for relationship with other people.
Then Rick meets Reg, who is Deanna's husband and the architect who made the wall, as we know. And he gives Rick compliments and a drink. Jesse's family shows up, and Rick gives them a look.
Yeah.
Gives them a definite look. What do you think of
Making
Reg?
eyes at her. Reg seems like an idiot.
Why?
I mean, he just everyone in this city feels like something out of the fucking Lost World.
They're a little uneducated about the outside world.
Yeah. It's like when Robin Williams came back from being stuck in Jumanji for 30 years. Mm-hmm. He's that guy, and everybody else is the town that doesn't understand that there's a magical board game that can kill you.
Yeah.
He's coming back with the bushy. I think Reg is an idiot. I think most of these people are an idiot. Deanna's smart, but she's an idiot.
Yeah, they're not idiots. They're just ignorant of the real goings on.
But she's also not taking, like, one thing I noticed on the second time through is when Rick says, you just fake got people up and you just prop a gun up there to make it seem like you got up there, this is madness. And as a way to soothe him and also not put Sasha up there, she says, I'll put my other son, who we're about to meet. What is his name? Spencer.
Yeah.
I'll put Spencer up in that tower.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer's not in the tower. Spencer is is the doorman for the party.
So who is in the tower? Eugene?
No one's in the fucking tower. I'm saying that Deanna's blowing off. She brought Rick in here to be the survivor, to be the consultant. And then now it's like, well, you don't know the Alexander way. Before we do anything with clock towers, it's cocktails first. Cocktail mixers. And it just, that will bite them in the ass, right?
Not if Rick can help it.
Right.
That's Rick's mission here, is to protect these people and to make them understand that they're doing things.
I think that's an open question whether that's his mission, and that the last scene is all about setting that up, but we'll get there.
Okay. Anyway, Daryl and Aaron watch as Buttons is eaten to death by walkers, and they go up and they kill the horse.
They kill a zombie with I guess a ram horn. I thought it was a cow horn, but that's not
curled.
Big.
No,
it's a pygmy cow is what it is. They've especially
it's a chupacabra.
It's a chupacabra.
Yeah.
It's a goat sucking demon.
It's the perfect callback to Daryl Dixon as the chupacabra.
That's what Daryl Dixon's going to do. He's going there's a dearth of entertainment options. So imagine Daryl as like a post-apocalyptic crocodile hunter.
All right, he's gonna start his own show.
Yeah, he's gonna have Aaron following with his black and white camera.
Now look at this bullshit.
That's right. That's right. Look at this chupacabra. I'm gonna stab me a zombie head with this. Gets mangy coyote, and it's like some kind of fantastical beast on the outside.
Yeah. And maybe he'll make a chupacabra gill suit just out of a bunch of pieced together animals.
Is that Gill or is it Gilly? I always thought it was Gilly suit.
Maybe it is Gilly suit. Guile suit. Like
Guile, there you go.
Yep.
It's just blonde mohawks everywhere.
And lightning kicks.
I don't think blonde mohawks and lightning kicks is something you can make a stealth suit out of. But
it depends on the setting.
If anyone depends
on the setting, honestly.
Yeah. If you're on the set of like the beach volleyball scene of Top Gun, you would blend right in. You get behind Iceman and you just disappear.
Absolutely. All right. At the party, Noah is super uncomfortable, and Maggie and Glenn come over to try to help him out. It doesn't seem to work. Like Noah's just lost here. He doesn't know what to do.
Can we wait a second? This was supposed to be an emotional, like old Yeller putting down scene.
They put Noah down? I didn't see that part, man.
No, the horse.
Yeah.
That fake ass horse head and the somber music did not drown out my laughter. I thought that was a very funny scene.
Yeah, you noticed the Muppets horse head immediately. I didn't see it until the second time.
It's very much me, myself, and Irene, man. Like I kind of wish they'd go for it. Aaron's on there plugging the horse's nose.
Yeah, good stuff. Some
good stuff.
Yeah,
Fuck
good stuff,
you, man.
Yeah. It's
I see what you're doing there. Just want to move on the podcast.
I do. So what do you think of Noah in this scene? He
I don't think much of Noah.
I don't. Does he not know what his place is here? Like, has he not found his niche? Is that what he's worried about, or is he just worried that this is not sustainable?
I mean,
I can't tell.
He's from a slightly shittier version of Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand. I mean, I get it. He's lost his entire family and his mom and his brothers and all that stuff.
But so has everybody.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean,
Abraham's okay with it. Things turned out pretty well for me. Abraham.
That's why
you lost your family, your entire family.
He's right like, I never liked them kids anyway, and I upgraded lady-wise, so free beer. I mean, things have worked out for. I don't know. I don't care about Noah.
Okay, that's fair. Noah doesn't have anything to do, right?
Like I care less about Noah than I do about the Reverend
Gabriel,
Father Gabriel, and I don't care much about Father Gabriel. Yeah,
because he's been lost to time now.
I mean, I feel like that they're shaping up Noah to be the sacrificial lamb at some point.
Yeah,
and because he's troubled in the same way that like Daryl and Sasha are, but he's much more expendable.
Oh yeah, way more expendable.
So I'm kind of like got a little cynical detachment from his character.
Okay, totally understandable.
He's got a bum leg.
Mm-hmm.
He's already been menaced by zombies and patio furniture. I just don't know.
He cleared off the front porch of all those houses before. He was like, "This is unsafe."
That's right. Threw it out.
These chairs, this swing, got to go. So Daryl stalks.
It's a trip hazard.
Daryl stalks in the shadows outside the party. And then on his way home, Aaron stops him and invites him in for spaghetti.
Serious spaghetti.
Yeah, very serious spaghetti. We'll talk about the seriousness of that spaghetti later. Mm-hmm. What do you make of Daryl outside the party? Just kind of looking in from the outside. He obviously feels like an outsider here.
Yep.
Doesn't belong.
Yep.
Does he have any disdain for these people in their party?
They need to play some Bee Gees and for Rick to come up on the other side of the fence and like put his hand out. And then it's like him and Derek will have that moment.
Listening through the window.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what Rick's looking at. Rick's looking out through that window. No. Do you think maybe he is a little disappointed in the group with them in there partying and drinking and pretending like everything's normal.
No, because they're doing what Rick told them to do. Like, they're not all privy to this super double plus secret takeover Alexandria plan.
It's true.
Order 66 or Order 99. That's what it's going to be.
All right. Let's move on. Rick meets Jesse's husband, who is a doctor, and he offers to take a look at Rick. And then he gets him a drink or a refill.
We call him Dr. Trump, even though he doesn't really look in good light. He doesn't look at all like Donald Trump. He's still kind of an asshole, so he's Dr. Trump for me.
All right. While he's
clearly he's not long for the world either.
Doesn't seem like it. No. I don't know what's going to happen between Rick and him, but something. It's not nothing, that's for sure.
He seems incredibly nice, but the writers want to make sure we know he's not too nice because of his way over the top pissy reaction to.
Oh no, this is a veneer. That niceness is complete bullshit for party people.
Okay.
Because when he interacts with Jesse, it's completely opposite.
Okay. But not even in private. It's like, you know, he's like super nice guy. And, oh yeah, I don't even remember the drunken tirade I launched at you last night, Rick. I'm gonna go get refills. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, all right.
It's harsh. So he takes off, and then Jesse introduces Rick to the pretty amazing view, in her words, of his family eating and drinking.
Carl playing Kings with the kids.
Yep.
He's gonna have to take his pants off and run around the house 3 times.
I don't think that's how Kings works, but or at least I've never played that version of it.
You never what?
Of Kings?
What?
Kings is a drinking game, man.
Yes, and that's what happens in drinking games.
Oh,
pants
so
get
you're
taken
saying,
off and you run around. Yeah,
regardless of the rules of the
it's an
drinking
elaborate truth or dare game, and you know it's an excuse for people to take off their clothes and. I
don't know if you know what Kings is, based on what you're saying now. I don't know how you play Kings and what our conversation was earlier. Honestly, there are a lot of different ways to play Kings. Anyway, so yeah, Carl.
The best way to play it involves pants off, running around at the house in circles.
Okay, that's not arguable.
Okay.
He agrees with Jesse. You know, this is a pretty amazing view, and he sees Carl hanging out with new friends, and Jesse's son comes up and stamps his hand with an A. I didn't like most of this scene.
Sure.
It's rehashing old themes. It's Jesse monologuing about something that makes no sense.
I honestly, I've watched that scene 3 times, and I started like my eyes crossing halfway through every time.
That's the problem. Like I bet that monologue makes sense.
Sure.
If you can get through it, but you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. I've seen it twice now. Every time halfway through, I'm like, nope, done with this conversation.
Like Rick should be like just put his hands on her lips and be like, shh, do you have a kid that can stamp my hand now? I've heard better versions of the script from much better actors and actresses. Yeah. We just skip forward to I get the stamp. All right. Stamp A, boxcar A for Alexandria, Scarlet letter A. Rick's gonna bone Jesse.
All of the above, but it's very confusing because, like I said in the instant cast, there's a very specific history with the letter A in the show.
Do you think so? It's possible that the writers have all forgotten about Boxcar A.
No, that was less than a full season ago.
I'm just saying. But I think that I don't know. I wish they did. I like it when they show and not tell, but I kind of wish they talked about like why does kids run around stamping people's hands.
Well, Jesse says you belong to the community now. You're part of. You're one of us.
But so is that the kid's job? He goes and still. What happens when the stamps wash off?
He checks. He's at the gates. He's checking every day.
That's disturbing. I don't like that.
Time for another stamp, Rick.
Yeah, your stamp wore off on the outside. He can't get back in. I don't know. I like the Scarlet letter, and also the callback to the Boxcar A more than I do the A for Alexandria. That's the text. Yeah. Subtext is Rick wanting to bone Jesse and him becoming a community member for Alexandria. And also, like in the end, when he goes to draw his super secret gun to, I guess, because he's planning on murdering Dr. Trump.
In broad daylight in the middle of the town, yeah.
Draws it with the A hand.
You're right. I don't know what it means, but it means something.
I'm pretending to be Aaron. I'm just going to say something that doesn't really make sense, but then we're going to fade the scene and we're going to pretend like it made sense.
All right. Sasha shows up at the party and just basically pisses in the punch bowl. Not yet. She's civilized when she meets Spencer.
First appearance of Mrs. Neamaker and her goddamn pasta machine.
She really wants this pasta maker.
Yeah.
How much pasta is she eating?
I don't know. And like I said, like I've never fuck it. I'm not going to care about this. This is a joke scene that they made for laughs, and I don't care.
Okay. Well,
Neamaker pasta machine can go fuck herself. And if this community was worth its salt, they would have told her, go out. Yeah. Hey, here's an assault rifle. There's the front gate. Go fucking find your pasta maker. We're trying to live out here. God damn. Like, that's one thing that bugged me at this episode is I don't care how lucky these people are.
It's Lori with the pregnancy test, right?
It's worse than that. It's like Lori had never even gone through the fall of man. Like, the shit that they're talking about is yeah.
That's the point, though. That is the point. These people don't know what's out there, really.
Yes.
They've never been challenged by this world.
Which is interesting when our group comes in, but it's the one unintended or perhaps intended consequence is I don't feel anything for these people.
Okay.
Like, they're in all of them except possibly Deanna has so far fallen into this too stupid to live category.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Deanna as a character, and I think there's more up her sleeve than
we know. Like, I don't like I'm marathoning season 2 of Downton Abbey because my girlfriend's been addicted to it because I watched the last 2 seasons with her, and now it's over and we're going back and we're watching because that's what you do as couples. Okay. All right, you make you rewatch Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey, a fucking mansion with servants, is showing more awareness of hardships of World War I than this fucking little outpost in the middle of the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
That, like, I get what they're trying to do to the theme, but damn, it's a little much for me. I like this episode a lot, but this part is a little too much for me.
Yeah, there are some thin parts.
Like, you can have the survivors have legitimate, like, clashes over things that you know, like, they can lose their shit over anything. They don't have to have, like, the most barrage of, like, you know, pumpkin latte spice, Ugg wearing, my favorite things about fall, white girl, first world problems, things like,
but
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's too much. It's too much.
I'm not sure I agree 100%. I get why.
I don't think Sasha went far enough. She should have pistol whipped that woman, came into her and said, oh, my biggest fear is that I'll make you the wrong food. Bitch, I just ate a dog. I ate a dog last week.
Can you make dog? Because I can eat dog.
Yeah, I poured out Aaron's water because I thought he's going to poison me. I almost shot him because he surprised me when I was opening up a music box.
So if you don't have these people being sheltered, how do you make that point?
I don't know.
If you don't have them talking about what wine they're drinking and stinky dog breath and stuff like that, I don't know how. I mean, how is he going to make the point that these people have been extremely sheltered, and that's a problem?
I don't know. Like, I saw a footman on Downton Abbey that had gotten back from the line. He saw a military uniform because they're entertaining a general, and he lost his shit. That made a lot of sense. This guy went through the Somme. This is like, if you listen to Dan Carlin, it's like hell on earth. It doesn't require like it's much more subtle and understandable thing. If just everyday life, like someone talking about making, it doesn't have to be like their favorite thing. And like, oh my God, this tea is so weak. And like, did you hear the stuff that they were talking about was something that you could get in any kind of like upper middle class mixer party.
That's the point.
Nowadays.
That is the point, though.
Yeah,
this is completely sheltered from the outside world. These people have been living here for 2 years. Essentially, since the very beginning, they never changed. They were sheltered from it from the very start. These people are who they were before this all changed.
But I'm saying, is that really realistic? Like,
in
people
the scenario
living
that they've set up, I think so. Yeah.
Even people living
with
in
power and water and all the same shit that they had before, I think so.
I don't know. Like, I feel like that even like in Britain and the United States and during world wars, just a simple rationing and like people being at war and being aware of people that you knew died kind of casts a pall on stuff without even having to try. And I felt like they were trying too hard.
You're right.
I don't want to belabor this because this is I just wanted to kind of go on an amusing rant, and this is becoming more of like a a thing that I wanted it to be.
All right.
Because you put me in a corner, god damn it. You don't put baby in you don't put baby in a corner.
Don't put buttons in a corner.
I will fight out of that corner every single time. I'm not in some black horse that's going to be chained to some paddock and ripped apart
up
by
like
zombies.
so much spaghetti.
Damn straight. I want to fight. I want to fight on this ground.
Speaking of so much spaghetti, Daryl finishes up his spaghetti and Eric asks him to keep an eye out for the pasta maker. Aaron's like, no, wrong move, wrong move. I haven't told him yet.
Right.
So then Aaron takes him out to the garage and shows him a bike that he can fix up, which makes Daryl's day.
The biggest bullshit I want to call this whole episode is this serious spaghetti. That is some weak ass spaghetti.
Yes.
That's spaghetti and tomato sauce.
Which is the weakest of the pastas. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the weakest of the pastas, the weakest of the sauces.
Yeah.
Marinara sauce is a pretty weak sauce.
Yeah.
You combine those two, you don't have serious
I think
spaghetti.
it's tomato like sauce.
It's just mushed up tomatoes.
Yeah, no, it's just like you get a can of tomato sauce and you pour it over spaghetti, and that's the meal. There's no meatballs, there's no mushrooms, there's no peppers, there's no nothing
herbs,
in that.
no spices.
No,
nothing.
My grandma made spaghetti like that. I did not call it serious spaghetti. I called it the bullshit grandma's going to make, and we're going to eat because we're polite, and also she's got a cool swimming pool, and she loves us. You know?
You're right. It's not serious spaghetti. It's nowhere near it.
It's better than dog. Don't get me wrong.
It's not a serious bike either. Like this bike is not running. So Daryl's got to not only fix his bike, but now he's got to be a recruiter too. When is he going to have time to fix that bike?
I don't know. He's going to need it because you got to have a bike to recruit.
Yeah, that seems weird.
Can't do it in the Winnebago.
No, it's not loud enough. So the one thing that Aaron says here that I think is right on is that Daryl knows the difference between a good person and a bad person. I think from the start, he has kind of known that.
Okay.
All right. Just yeah.
This is an episode about blatant betrayals of podcasts. It's like podcasters leaving each other out to dry. Partners turning on each other.
Leaving me hanging.
Yeah, just no.
Right.
Fuck yeah, your point, sure, whatever, man. Go with it. Let's see what you come up. No, I don't know, because there's a lot of like kind of too cute things. Like Aaron happened to shack up in a garage that had a motorcycle, and he happened to be collecting motorcycle parts.
Do you think that's by chance, or do you think he
knew Daryl was
been watching? He's been watching them for a while, and he said, "Okay, guys, I'm bringing these people back now. Move all these motorcycle parts into my garage."
No, I don't buy that.
Okay, I don't either. I'm just spitballing here.
Nah, it's just something they invented for his backstory because it's a good angle for him. But that's the thing. Like,
it's the way into Daryl's heart.
Lazy because a more interesting story is that these two that have nothing in common. You know, I'm just going to assume that Aaron and Eric come from fairly well-to-do families, and you know, he had his mother but they also have kind of like, you know, his mother was trying to turn him ungay by force feeding him applesauce, and Daryl's brother was putting cigarettes out on him. But whatever, you know, they had some family issues, and they've also been like on the outside looking in because of their outsider situation, and they can bond over that. They don't need like motorcycles.
No, I don't think they needed it. I'm not sure. Carol has been trying for seasons now to get into Daryl's heart, right?
Okay.
To open Daryl up.
Sure. Successful on a platonic level, not romantic.
Fairly successfully. He's still not showing her everything, obviously. Imagine how long it would take Aaron to get into that position without something like a bike. Some physical manifestation of their bond.
Okay.
I feel like it was fairly necessary for that to happen to expedite the process. Otherwise, you're looking at another 3 seasons of Daryl, why are you so angry? That's not
because no one's ever asked me to put together a motorcycle before. I've been waiting. I know there's motorcycles out there.
And the other thing he asks is, hey, you want to be the scout, a recruiter?
Right.
Because Eric is too weak, apparently.
Sure.
He's breaking his ankles on nothing.
He's got bird bones.
He does. Then we get a great scene of Abraham and Michonne. He goes out to the deck to drunkenly talk to Michonne about her steel. Both the tiny steel she has in her hand and the steel she's going to keep on her back.
Like the monkey, it is.
Yeah, less like a monkey and more like a safeguard.
See, I like this as a lampooning of the Jesse speech. It's this like, it doesn't really make sense and hold together and profound, but Abraham is so proud that he got through it. And he like, as soon as he gets the last word, it's like, I'm just going to admire.
That was a good
I'm going to
line.
admire the verbal tapestry I just wove.
Yeah.
And then
Michonne brings it crashing down.
Yeah. How much have you been drinking anyway? And then, again, we've already talked about this, but the things worked out pretty damn well for me. Did they?
No.
Did they? You watched a woman and presumably your children get, well, you didn't watch it, but you saw the evidence of them being ripped apart by zombies because you scared the shit out of them beating men to death with your,
You followed a lunatic across the country for no damn reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they worked out that well.
I get it, Rosita's hot, but I don't know that you can say that with a straight face.
But he does it.
He does it with the help of a 24 pack of beer, a case of beer.
Yep. Carol sneaks into the pantry, steals some chocolate and guns, and then Sam walks in.
Why does she steal the chocolate? Just to be a dick? Like, fuck your rationing, Olivia. I'm taking the guns and the chocolate.
That's a good question.
She's embracing Rick's take what's ours philosophy.
I think she wants to make more cookies. But to what end, I don't know. Probably for Sam.
Keep this, yeah.
Keep Sam's mouth shut.
I don't think Sam's ever going to eat a cookie again.
No, Sam's never going to eat again.
No, you get a box of animal crackers, he just breaks in and crying.
Yep. So Sam walks in and she scares the shit out of him. I love this scene.
I thought it was great too.
I can't believe they went for it in the way they did, but it worked.
This is like a no half measure situation.
Yep.
The man trap would be proud.
Oh yeah.
And they went for it both in the acting. I thought the kid did a really good job of no, it's great.
Yeah, fantastic. Next scene, Judith hands off.
And that's the other thing is like, when I was a kid, like adults, there was a class of adults that did this.
Yeah.
You always had the crazy uncle or the old aunt, or like in Game of Thrones, it's old Nan, like, oh, my sweet summer child. You know nothing about the way the real world works. Let me tell you about the murderers and the rapists and all that stuff. And you were kind of like afraid, but you were also fascinated by it,
All right.
And I think this is like a lot of people talking about how like psychotic Carol's. I don't think Carol sees this as psychotic. I think Carol sees this as being real with the kid.
I mean, she's directly threatening to tie him to a tree and leave him for the walkers.
Right. But she's basically, Carol has killed children close to her because she had to.
Yeah.
Like Carol is living in the new world order. Carol doesn't give a shit about your notions of childhood and innocence and thing. Like this is like there are consequences for your actions, Sam. And one of those consequences is me snatching you up and tying you to a tree and feeding you to walkers. Like in Carol's own mind, I don't think she sees this as crazy.
You're right. In Carol's mind, she certainly doesn't.
Are we supposed to see it as crazy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right? I mean, how could we not see it as crazy?
With the like I said, the caveats I just laid out for you.
There was a damn good reason for her to kill Lizzie and Mika, or well, Lizzie. But to threaten this child and frighten him to death, I don't know.
But that's the thing. She's like, this is at worst psychological trauma. Who gives a shit? Carl and Judith have been through worse.
He'll survive it.
No, right. I mean, I'm not subscribing to this. I'm not saying this is okay, but I'm saying in the zombie apocalypse,
no one reacted watching that scene for the first time going, yep.
Carol's fully justified. No,
she's right.
I know.
She's right.
I know that. I'm just again,
so yes, we were supposed
blatant betrayal of podcasters. In this
we were supposed to see it as crazy, man.
Okay, but I'm saying like in do you think Carol saw this as the worst thing she's ever?
No,
honestly, we saw this as the worst thing she's ever done.
You're right. You're right in a strange way.
But Carol is to her. This is the same kind of thing as her talking to Olivia about substituting applesauce for eggs. Like I feel like this is the exact same kind of.
Ooh, Carol's gone dark, man.
No, she has. Yeah, which is really amazing.
Jesse hands Judith off to Rick, and he goes in for a kiss, and it is awkward. I don't know. I felt it was awkward. You said, "Oh, she's smiling. She's happy about that." I don't know, man. That's like a complicated situation.
There was like a surprise, but her reaction to Rick kissing her was a smile.
Yeah,
Now that you
now, is that just politeness?
Well, that's the
Is
thing.
that
You could parse that as
not
like her
making a
being
scene?
like exactly. And this is a judgment call.
Yeah.
But my judgment said that this was a smile, like that was kind of nice.
Okay.
And you know, she's married
buy
to
that because with the way that I'm just gonna call him Ed 2.0 was treating her.
yes, exactly.
That seems like bad news.
Like you substitute Jesse for season 1 Carol.
Yeah.
And like say Daryl came up and gave her a kind of a peck on the cheek. I think Carol smiles the same way.
Yeah, maybe so.
Now it's a little darker because you know this is a hero of the show and he's considering murder. I think by the end of the episode we're to understand that he is seriously considering murdering Dr. Trump.
And the worst we've seen this guy do is be slightly rude to her at a party.
Right.
It's not like we've seen her being beaten by this man or
like everyone has been rude to
maybe they're having a bad day.
We've seen it in multiple instances on this very podcast. Like everyone's an asshole from time to time, right?
Yeah. So like I don't know that the show has earned me saying, yeah, go Rick.
But that would be and you know, it wouldn't surprise me if later on we find out that yes, this is all justified.
Yeah.
But it's interesting at this point with the knowledge that we and Rick know, this is a massive overreaction akin to stockpiling weapons to take over this town from people.
Sure, definitely.
And it's also a very Shane thing to do.
It's very dark, man. I mean, the way last episode he was saying if they can't cut it, we'll just take this place.
Like we talked
I almost
about,
feel like Rick is just gonna take this woman. And it's kind of fucking disturbing.
Like we talked about in the live watch, like we was like, whoa, look at the lobes on Rick. They're just engorged because, you know, John Barenthal has enormous earlobes. But no, I feel like that they are echoing back to the Shane aspect of his character. This is a very Shane thing to do. This paternalism and protection can very quickly turn dark.
Oh yeah. I think we're seeing it. Deanna tries to get Sasha involved in the party conversation, but she freaks out. She's deathly afraid of this inane bullshit. She's disturbed by it and she screams. This is what you people worry about.
Yeah.
It's also silly.
Too many basic bitches in this crew for her.
Yep. And then Sasha tells Deanna that this community isn't real and she sends her out to patrol the wall or something.
And Deanna, to her credits, comes back with what you just said is bullshit because that's a fair point too.
Yeah.
This is a real place. Like, regardless of what you guys said, we are here and living life to a fairly high standard.
Yeah. It's hard to argue with that. Carol brings the guns to the meeting with Daryl and Rick, but Daryl doesn't want one. Rick almost reluctantly takes one. Like he's not super convinced about this at this point either.
Yep.
But he does take one. So we've got a couple of gun toters walking around now. Daryl, not interested.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Do you think he's happy about this new position he's got?
Yes.
He's no longer on board with taking the place.
Yeah. No, I mean, he was a man without a position and without anyone he could relate to. And I think single-handedly, Aaron is someone he can relate to. And now he's got a position where he can see himself excelling at.
Okay.
And being useful.
Yeah.
He's got a path in on society. For a guy like Daryl, who is raised in the sticks to be like some white power supremacist, drug-addled jackass, like, you know, imagine a guy like that walking through a strip mall. You know, there is no path into polite society.
Sure.
For the first time, someone's giving him like the golden ticket. Like, this is, if you do these things that you enjoy anyway, you will become a pillar of this community. That's a powerful thing for him. Like a way to get the prison, like his esteem in the prison, at a more stable, secure society. And he doesn't want to fuck that up.
You're right. Michonne then hangs her sword on her dorm room wall, or turns her house into a dorm by hanging it on the wall. I don't know, one of the two. Symbolic of her, you know, keeping this thing on her back, doing exactly what Abraham said, I think.
Right.
Making sure it's there when she needs it, but also not constantly relying on it.
I think it's a terrible idea to hang the bare metal steel of the sword on the nails. Like, it's a great way to get galvanic rust, but you know,
okay, yeah,
I'd put it on its sheath up there, but what do I know?
All right. Daryl and Carol and Rick return to town and go their separate ways, and then Rick sees Jesse as he walks by and nearly decides to kill her husband, and then walks over to the wall and creeps me out. I don't know what he's doing over there, man, but he's listening to a walker on the other side.
And this is I've said many times that the way that they use pop music on this show leaves me cold.
A lot of the time, yeah.
But I felt like this is the first time where they've come equal to like a Boardwalk Empire or a Breaking Bad, where this Bee Gees song was the just right amount of cognitive dissonance between the kind of the outwardly cheerful nature of the music and upbeat nature of the music with the kind of melancholy lyrics with what the what the character is feeling. So it's like not too on the nose, but also a perfect compliment. I mean, that's the highest praise I can get if you're approaching like, you know, Breaking Bad pop culture music references. So I got to give it up to them because I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, the show that I always think of when they do something like this is Lost, because they did a lot of this stuff with the Hatches and a lot of stuff with the others, and just kind of they used it more to the effect of throwing you out of your comfort zone, like where am I?
Sure.
Well, what's going on here? But here, yeah, like, you know, we clearly know that things are not happy here. Not all is right, but they're playing a pop song like it is. So, and
also we find out that this gate is like a double gate. You've got like the solid steel bars,
the cold roll,
whatever, the solid steel bars. But then they also have a chain link gate that slides into place with the burlap covering that screens from view. So it's like better than I thought. In fact, I got multiple emails from people that seem to be, you know, material scientists or architects saying that external supports would be superior the way that the tensile strength of steel and, like, you know, if it's on the others, the fact that it resists that better than like the buckling tension, that for standing up against zombie hordes, having the supports on the external side with proper concrete footings and all that stuff would be superior and actually be stronger than a fence resisting it from the other side. And
the architect explains that.
And if you also buy that they really see zombies as a primary threat and people as a secondary threat, that makes a lot of sense. So this is all my way of saying I'm sorry for talking shit about your set design, Gimple.
Sure.
I think as Rick says, it's suboptimal for keeping people out.
Yes. I would just climb the bars
for dedicated attackers and all that stuff, but it fits in the theme of this show and these people's experience.
Yep, I agree. So that's it, man. I don't know what's going on with Rick at the Wall. I'm not sure if he's happy to be here looking at this, but
yeah,
I could see that. I could also see. Well, I'm gonna fucking take this place. I don't know. I don't know what's going through Rick's head at the end of this.
I miss zombies.
Maybe, yeah.
Even though he got to kill a bunch this episode.
This was like Midnight Express. That scene. If it had been a clear wall, he would have lifted his shirt.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for the episode.
Sure.
What do we have for feedback?
A lot. Rachel A said in your episode, this is the only one I called from previous episodes, but she goes, in your episode on the distance, Aaron expressed disbelief that you could find a Hawaii plate on the East Coast. Personal anecdote incoming. I moved from Hawaii to Columbus, Ohio back in October, and we shipped our car. I'm lazy as fuck and haven't switched our plates out yet, so I'm still driving with Hawaii plates in Ohio.
So we know there's one.
Yeah, we know there is one. You'd be surprised how many people move from Hawaii back to the mainland and ship their cars. It's actually a fairly big business. Lots of people move out to Hawaii, but only last a year or so and wind up moving back home. Plus, there are a ton of military families who move around and have their cars shipped from Hawaii, which has a bunch of military bases. I guess my point is that it's probably pretty rare, but I wouldn't be shocked to find a Hawaii plate near DC.
And that's our point. It's really rare.
It's really rare.
And the further east you go, the more rare it is.
I don't know that that's true.
I think that's true.
Military base and people just moving things. Like
military bases, maybe, but
my gut tells me that shipping a car from Hawaii is the expense. That once you get into the United States, it's only a couple $100 more.
Yeah, I'm not arguing expense. I'm arguing the mix of culture and people there between like California and Hawaii is much greater than the mix on the East Coast.
Okay. Well, we got one in Ohio.
One.
So in the zombie apocalypse, we're going to be looking for your car, Rachel.
Yep.
We got
whether you're alive or not, we're coming at you.
We'll have our Apache hovering just over the horizon,
Yeah, don't
scoping at
forget.
those Hawaii plates.
Don't forget, we've got that.
Jeremy R says the thing that sticks out the most to me is the walkers with the dubs on the foreheads.
Yeah.
I didn't think that much of it at first until I saw Jesse's son place the A stamp on Rick's hand. My mind traveled back to Deanna saying they exiled 3 people. His theory is the wolves are those people, and the W is a fuck you to Alexander, saying if the living don't want us, the dead are our people. That is an interesting take, that just like the little kid is marking A's on people, they're marking W's.
All right. I like it.
I like it too.
What is the W? World? This is the world.
Wolves.
Well, yeah. But what is Alexandria? It's the place that they're in. It's not the name of the people.
It's the wolves. They're using wolves like sleeping bags out there, like alpacas.
Yep.
So many alpacas.
Like guile suits.
Nick Gibbs said the amount of foreshadowing the unknown wolf group of the unknown wolf group in this episode was crazy. For Rick, Carol, and Daryl, first Rick, Carol, and Daryl see the walker with the W brand. Rick then tells Deanna that a hostile group could simply walk up the supports and over the wall. And the cherry on top was the full moon shown prior to the party. They might have well sampled.
Was that Abraham?
They might have well sampled a lone wolf howling at that point. I was so ready for a hostile assault from the wolves while all the Alexandrians were chatting around about first world problems. They could have given Rick's group the chance to save the day and show how misguided they really are, begin to assume command. Point being, Deanna said that she would post Spencer in a clock tower immediately, but then we see him posted as a hostess at her local Chili's. Her ignoring the suggestion shows her inability to properly defend Alexander while Rick's group saves the sheep from the wolves and becomes their shepherd. Thoughts? That seems like a pretty concise plot synopsis of what might happen in the next 3 episodes.
That sheep's from the wolves thing is interesting.
Because they're treating them like they haven't used the word, but their attitude screams like crazy YouTube conspiracy theory sheeple.
Yeah.
A bunch of sheeple behind these walls. They don't know how the real world works.
Sure. And I mean, we saw, I don't know, a ram or sheep or a goat or something out there. The
Olivia's wearing a wool sweater.
Okay. It's gone too far now. Next email.
Our buddy Yardley from Talking About the Walker podcast,
cool,
which we did a little season preview with before this season 5B, said, overall thought this is a solid episode. I wonder how many people who were outraged at Lori for sleeping with Shane after thinking Rick was dead will be outraged at Rick for putting the moves on a married woman. I think there'll definitely be a double standard in the outrage department. It also seems that Rick is taking on some of the attributes of the villains they've encountered over the course of the show.
Whoa. Double standard, my ass.
Okay.
Lori had no idea whether Rick was dead. And it was like a week.
Yeah.
A week, and she's in the sack with Shane. Rick has gone like a year now, knowing for a fact that she is dead. He's got license.
Are you calling Lori a whore?
I called her that in season 2, so sure, why not? Right, there's a huge difference here. Huge. Knowing for a fact that your spouse is dead.
Yes, Rick is worse, is what you're saying.
No,
Rick,
as far as the adultery scale goes,
Lori
no.
and Shane shacking up several weeks after Rick goes missing in a zombie apocalypse is morally defensible. Rick reaching for his gun when he sees a couple walking down the street is okay.
No, I think
I think Lori jumped into that.
Lori jumped into that bed way too soon.
I don't think it's an inhuman reaction, though.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe
I think
not,
Rick's action is kind of the definition of inhuman.
Give it a little time. Give it a little time, Lori.
Okay. Well, there you go, Yardley. You're getting it right here from this podcast. Unbelievable. It also seems that Rick is taking on some attributes of the villains they've encountered over the course of the show. And remember, Rick spoke on the potential of maybe having to take Alexander if things didn't work out, which is kind of a governor-esque point of view. In this episode, we see Rick grabbing for the pistol he had in his waistband when Jesse walked by with her husband, which seemed to mirror the moment in season 2 when Shane was considering killing him in the woods over Lori. It's actually season 1 where he pulls the shotgun and pretend murders him. I think it's official that Sasha is the remix version of Andrea from this point in the comics.
Oh, is that a spoiler?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because Andrea's dead and she's the sniper of the group. So
yeah, that's
Sasha's
exactly what I was
of the
thinking.
group.
Yeah.
I heard your show on episode 9, what happened to and what's going on, and you were wondering what Kente and I thought of Tyrese being killed off. We'll miss him as much as we miss rocks in our shoes. Peace. So there we go.
Yeah,
I kind of thought that.
They didn't care that much for Tyrese.
Not a big fan of Tyrese.
Nope.
Tyrese too soft.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, thanks for emailing in, Yardley. Hope you guys are having a good time at the season because we're kind of digging it.
It's turned itself around. I mean, granted, it took 3 or 4 episodes to get to.
And what scares me is this could be like some special confluence of events, and they could turn around just as quickly.
Yeah.
But Alexander seems to be the salve for what's ailing him.
I hope so.
Max from Winnipeg says, "Do you guys see the street name in the last scene with Rick? It was Morgan Street. Bum bum bum."
Yeah.
First and many to point that out. Is
Yes.
that just an Easter egg, or
Yeah.
is that foreshadowing? I mean, if we don't, if
foreshadowing, they've shown the goddamn character. What more foreshadowing do you need?
He's shadowing.
He's following them on a fucking map with a line drawn to where they're going. What do you want?
What do you say if we get to 516? No Morgan. Do you say bullshit?
Do
you think that's a possibility that we don't see Morgan?
I definitely think it's a possibility.
Oh,
I think
Christ.
as far as what I've heard of the timeline, he's months behind them, right? So they would have to be in this community for at least a couple of months.
Yeah, but they had to walk the last like 50 miles because
that's right.
They can't find an
And
abandoned
Morgan
car.
can fly, so we know.
He can.
I could see him coming back.
He's
in
a Wendigo.
The final episode. Yeah.
Adam J said, when Daryl was taken into the garage and looks under the tarp, I couldn't help but secretly hope to hear one thing. Gosh, you're big. You're so big.
Oh
my
God.
goodness, look at you. Fill me up, Chandler. Put it in me.
Oh, that's extra disturbing with Chandler Riggs on the set.
Little Better Call Saul there in your Walking Dead analysis.
Yep.
Thanks, Adam. Osen W said, is it really a W on the Walker's forehead or is it an M?
Oh
M as in
my
Morgan?
God. Oh my God.
Morgan confirmed.
Yep.
516.
Yep.
He's coming. He's going to be at the he's going to be at the gates writing a C of M carved,
surfing them down the
zombies. He's going to be like Cyrus from 300, or is it Xerxes? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to be riding a throne powered by zombies, all carved with M's on their heads.
All right. Good stuff.
Megan P said, we've learned that Daryl didn't have the greatest upbringing. His understanding of familiar relationships is quite warped, to say the least. He was literally following Merle down a path that led to watching his brother almost get shot over a TV show. Then, wham bam, the end of the world happens, and Daryl was given a chance to be someone new and reinvent himself. Daryl takes this opportunity to become a group member that is dependable and irreplaceable, which leads to him building relationships with the group members. At this point, Daryl's past issues come smacking him right back in the face. Let me expand. His relationship with Doodlebug. I never got a love interest feel from either of them, more of a big brother, little sister feel, which has Daryl questioning everything he knows about how to interact with her. This comes to light when Daryl and Beth are in the house, downing white lightning like it's water, and he loses it. He starts to yell at her and force her to shoot his bow. Whoa, boy. At that moment, Beth forces him to recognize his feelings of brotherly love for her when she says that he will be the last one standing. He wants to be a good, quote-unquote, big brother to Beth, but he doesn't know how. When Beth is taken and Daryl doesn't get a chance to fix what he inadvertently broke, while going on a crazed hunt to rescue her and their relationship, he discovers a book to help at the shelter. The act of picking up that book and packing away shows that Daryl wants to work on this. Okay. So far, so good, except for I definitely got more than brother and sister relationship out of Daryl and Beth. But then she moves on to Carol. Carol represents a big sister to Daryl who gives him love, guidance, and unyielding acceptance and support. This obviously boggles poor Daryl's mind because of all of these things are what he wants, but he mistrusts them. After Beth and the hospital ending, Daryl does what many people with an abusive past do when hit with a massive loss. They retreat. Carol, who understands him on such a level, knows when to push and when to be quiet and just be there while Daryl works through his feelings in a semi-positive way, subtracting the cigarette burns. So when Carol rolls up in her pre-zombie get-up in Alexandria, Daryl's left to wonder where he fits in. And this is her theory on why Daryl is having problems adjusting to life in Alexandria.
Okay.
Unresolved issues with both Beth and Carol.
And Merle, yeah, obviously.
And Merle.
Sure. I can get behind that, and I like how she points out, the exact parallels.
The thing that bothers me is that I buy that Daryl has more of a brother-sister relationship with Carol. I think that Carol wants, big sisters don't fucking sexually flirt with their younger brothers. And I also don't buy the analysis of Carol or Beth and Daryl being just friends.
Okay.
I mean, it never got beyond that, but I felt
Yeah.
like it was on a trajectory to do so.
I thought so at the time too. And without going back and watching it again, I'd have to say that I still think that.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm kind of on your side there. The Carol stuff though, it felt like any kind of sexuality that came from that was on Carol's end always.
Yeah.
I never felt any of that from Daryl.
No.
And they've said, so they've left Daryl's sexuality ambiguous on purpose.
Sure.
And they said that at some point they're going to address it. I wonder if that's going to come into play with Aaron at all.
Yeah, because we've talked about him being asexual. We've talked about him being just, heteroflexible. I kind of thought that too. There's a couple people that emailed that, and I didn't consider them because I don't think they were giving.
Because you're scared.
No,
hey,
I don't
you're
think
scared.
the people emailing us were considering it with the seriousness with which the concept deserves. Let's put it that way. But yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I've always had that in the back of my head, saying they're going to deal with this at some point. When is it going to happen? Because it's been a long time. They were saying that in season 3. So it's got to happen sooner or later.
William I has a good point about Sasha's outburst. I totally agree with her reaction, but I can't understand why anyone in the town would put her in that situation, which is what I was trying to articulate and failing with my flailings of Downton Abbey. They've clearly established that there is a lot of experience bringing new people into the community. Aaron has demonstrated procedures for learning about people with the listening device, how to gain their trust, about how to transport them to Alexandria, and so on and so on. So new people being brought in shouldn't have been an unfamiliar experience. Why, oh God, why is Martha Stewart here trying to give Sasha the full court press on her favorite fucking food? Not trying to befriend her with a comforting presence, not trying to let Sasha proceed at her own pace, comfortable for her, not even recognizing on her face a projection of someone who doesn't give a shit about your goddamn book club and is just in pain just being there. I bet most of the outcasts were fucking happy to get away from this passive-aggressive bullshit. I totally agree. This seemed extremely tone deaf and something that Deanna, who is supposedly good at reading people, should have picked up on before she invited them all to this massive town-wide mixer.
Yeah, especially when Sasha's got the crazy eyes coming to her saying, I want to be a sniper.
Yes. Yes. I want to see the lights in her eyes go out when I shoot them.
One shot, one kill.
He continues, I found it interesting how everyone was bashing poor Miss Niedermeyer about her inane ramblings of pasta maker with their very own inane ramblings about Miss Niedermeyer. It's the circle of life. True. Yeah. True. Hey, here's a treat. Professional podcast critic Daniel WB makes the semi-rare once per season appearance. Here's his proclamation. Have to call bullshit on another fraudulent Hollywood portrayal of an architect. No way that guy shares any credit for the construction of his wall.
Wait. Oh, okay. All right.
Additionally, I found that Carol breaking and entering a bit bogus as well. She goes full on calculating secret agent, but an 8-year-old kid somehow gets the drop on her. She could have come up with a story about a chocolate chip addiction rather than turn the kid into a born again bedwetter.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing that was weird about it and why Carol went so dark so immediately.
Yeah.
That freaked me out, man.
They seem to be catching up to comics faster than Game of Thrones, stepping on George R.R. Any concerns? I think they're in the mid 60s, early 70s, comic book wise, and they're like at 135-ish, 140-ish. So no, not really. It just feels, it feels like they're catching up hot in the heels because they're actually doing things and advancing the plot more so than they've done arguably in the last season and a half. I mean, I think that's a true statement. Since being exiled from the prison,
well, they did Terminus, which was quick. They went through Terminus fast,
but it didn't really move the plot forward.
No, you're right. You're right. It didn't.
It was entertaining enough diversion.
It did a little bit, like, you know, it makes them even more scared of people outside.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's a kind of throwaway.
But no, I'm not concerned. I'm honestly hoping that they, you know, can kind of there's so much more story to tell in this back. I guess this is the back half of Walking Dead, where I find it was much more interesting than the previous half of Walking Dead. So I'm not concerned.
Okay.
I think that 12 issues a year, they can easily, I mean, they're 5-6 years away from catching up to current if they play their cards right.
Yeah.
Fernanda W/V said, I love the last scene where Rick is pictured across the wall from a walker, and you can see the animal trying to get into the place where the human is, or basically where they are a mirrored version of one another, or something like this. And she apologized because her English is not her first language, which you never have. English is my first language. I butcher it all the time. This is the wrong podcast to come feeling sorry for one's lack of mastery of the English language. So she's basically, I think, trying to communicate the fact that it's kind of like the zoo. You know, you're staring at an animal behind bars, and you are a person on the outside, and, you know, are you the caged animal? Do you feel more affinity to the zombie outside?
You have a way more
people?
introspective view when you go to the zoo than I do. If you're thinking deep thoughts, I'm just like, oh, cool, a bear.
Yeah. No, I mean, but I feel there's a little bit of that with Rick, that he kind of feels more kinship with the zombie than he does to the people here in Alexandria.
Yeah, like I said, I'm puzzled about what that last scene means. I got to think about it some more.
All right. Moving on to Tom from Pittsburgh, said Carol's scene with the Cookie Kid was by far my favorite. The lighting on her reminded me of every Disney movie where the evil queen / evil woman makes her ultimate intentions known.
Did they light her from beneath?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that's because
that's how it works. Yeah.
Because like, wasn't the freezer open and there's a light in the freezer?
Maybe so.
There might have been a good reason for that.
Or the window is kind of low in that building.
It worked well. And he also notes that the way her hair was highlighted, it looked like she had devil horns.
Okay.
So she's Maleficent.
Sure.
I like Carol as Maleficent.
That is a lighting technique that tends to do that, though. If you light someone from the bottom, it's very unnatural lighting.
Yeah, we did that on the Halloween episode of the Lunch of Jim and Aaron.
And that's why people do that, because it's just so unnatural and weird.
Sure.
It throws people off.
The sun is in the sky.
Exactly.
The lights are in the sky.
Yeah. So that's basically what they're trying to do anytime you see someone lit from below.
Molly says, it occurs to me that all the characters that Carol has changed the most, or out of all the characters, Carol has changed the most and Daryl has changed the least. Carol's gone from victimized to hero, and after forget, possibly to victimizer. Her constant may be a survivor theme, but I was wondering what becoming Scarol will do to her.
Scarol.
I like that. That's good. That's good, Molly. Also, we wondered what her final transformation was going to be.
Child threatener.
Scarol. She went from Scrambo to Scarol. Killing Lizzie had some impact on her, but she seems completely fine in awesome fashion with giving Cookie Boy eternal nightmares. However, Daryl, on the other hand, doesn't seem to have changed much at all. He was in his own world before, and people were forced into it. Now that former normals, that's a hard one to say. It's like a rural juror. Former normals want to go back in a civilized society. They seem to be exiting this world again. He's also somewhat lost without an older brother figure. He was second to Merle, then to Rick, and now that Michonne has been deputized with that position, he is floundering. And last episode until Aaron comes to take the mantle. I agree. Daryl seems to need to be a second banana.
Well, he got his wish. He's going to be Aaron's second banana.
Third banana, arguably.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go there.
There's no what we can have. We talk about the Meacham Threecham. But we can't have a Daryl sandwich. Is that what you're saying?
No, I guess you can have a Daryl sandwich. Yeah, why not? Once Eric's ankle heals up,
he's the. Okay, just moving on. I'm not talking about ankles and configurations and things.
That's not where I was going. All right.
Sure you were. George S. said, I want to give you a note to tell you guys a story that reminded me of Sasha's outbreak at Deanna's party. I am a U.S. Army veteran, and I've served in Operation Enduring Freedom, and I don't know what the OIF is, and I've spent most of that time in a 50-man tent with 140-degree weather, camel spiders, incoming mortars, and air raid sirens. We lived in questionable conditions, but we didn't mind because we survived and suffered together. Most veterans get 2 weeks off in between active tour to return home to their families, before finishing the tour itself, which could last anywhere from 12 to 16 months. I was 9 months into a 12-month tour in Iraq when I was selected to take leave early. I packed up all my duffel bags, brushed the mountains of sand off the rest of my gear, and spent the next week waiting for a flight back home. Thinking of just seeing my family made each day easier to get through, but on the last day, I heard something that made me flip my lid. It was an exceptionally hot day, and we'd taken some mortar fire earlier, but I was able to get online and use the internet to Skype with my family. I was also always careful not to worry them, so I asked them what they were up to on that side. Have you heard what happened? It's horrible. Everyone here is talking about it, my mom said. I asked what happened in a somber voice. She replied, Taylor Swift was going up for an award, and Kanye West got up and stole the moment from her. I felt so bad. Everyone is worried. The poor girl. For her, I yelled. Bad for her? Yeah. Is that what you people back home are worried about? The next celebrity? There's a war going on, and people are dying, and anyone can talk about is what's on MTV? I was angry, but more sad and disappointed that people were going out of their way to ignore the ugliness of war. It felt like the body count and casualties were things that regular people didn't want to bother with. I've since calmed down about the matter, but seeing Sasha flip out at the intentional ignorance of the Alexandria citizens hit very much home for me, and it was very well done. First of all, thank you, George, for your service. And I mean, I totally got her motivation, but that is a great example of how fucking pointless people can get. Yeah. Hell, I don't care about Kanye snatching shit from Taylor West. I'm not in the middle of his war zone. It's like, okay, whatever.
At least dinner's important.
Yeah.
At least dinner's important. Come on. Taylor Swift, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Like, yeah, food can put, you know, in your belly and make you live. Taylor Swift is like, sure, she can write a fine song, and Kanye can craft a fine beat, but who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for the story. Moving on, Mr. Rock and Rock. He said he had a problem with what he calls not the cold open, but the tepid opening. When watching the Sasha-centric cold open, my feelings went from okay, we get it, to wait a minute, I don't get it. When I thought about it and had a chance to rewatch it, here's what I could make out. She's still haunted by her recent losses. Then she pulls a dick move, taking other folks' family portraits and busting them up all Tony Montana style. Tana style, I guess. At least that's what I thought they were. The fact that the portraits grace Sasha's now empty house suggests that they were of previous residents, and all of them are worm/zombie food by now. If that's the case, why would the welcoming committee leave them there? That's like renting an apartment to someone with the previous resident's chalk outline still on the floor. But whatever, this is The Walking Dead. I suppose the pictures represent ghosts, and this whole scene was Sasha's way of exorcising them. That she remained freaked out and completed the ritual means the exorcism didn't take out. Still, whatever it's supposed to mean, I didn't find it worthy of a cold open.
Yeah, I'm mostly with you. Maybe.
We had a different
maybe
take.
Those were ghosts, but either way, yeah, it doesn't work. She is not getting any kind of catharsis from this.
I thought that a lot of these houses are unsold houses, and they have just like stock imagery and stock furniture, and like it's really interesting that Aaron and Eric's house still have like the for sale sign.
Yeah,
tacked up in the windows,
contract or something, they say.
Which I'm like, I feel like if you had guys move into a house within 6 months, you'd have gotten around to taking the stickers off the window.
You'd think so, yeah.
But apparently not. They got other things to do, like obsess over dinners and chocolate bars and that kind of stuff.
Make shitty spaghetti.
Arsenal security. So Olivia is keeper of arms. I understand that this is a community of the unprepared, but all anyone needs to do to check out weapons is a story about what boss lady wants, or desire to do some target practice, or a whimsical desire for some crack of dawn boar hunting by a person who's obviously unstable, quietly belligerent, and completely new to community. And speaking of arsenal security, why exactly does Carol steal the guns? I thought it was our gang, so our gang could be armed within the walls after check-in time for the registered ones. So after she stole them, why did she sneak them back out and divvy them outside the walls? If they're to be stashed outside, that would have made sense, but Rick clearly smuggled his back in. It made no sense. He has a fine point here.
He's right. Carol could have just walked in and said, I need chocolate and guns. What for? Oh, I'm making a cake. Okay, here's your guns.
Sure.
Like, that's what Sasha did.
Sure. Yeah, I don't get it.
And the gun smuggling stuff. I don't know, inside the wall, outside the wall. I
feel like that dilapidated trailer park is the designated I hate Alexandria, or an Alexandria hater zone. That's where the clubhouse meets.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's
Enid's gonna be there soon.
You know what? We didn't see anything of Enid this week. This
We
episode.
didn't. She's dead.
Too many cooks. I wonder if they are going to find out that she is overhearing these people's, because that was one of our big theories last week, is that Enid's the one that stole the gun.
Yeah.
Enid's hanging around in these abandoned houses. Enid could have overheard all these conversations, and these conversations would make Rick look horrifying.
Yeah.
Topher T said, I think Carol might still try to find a way to make the child go missing, as her threat doesn't guarantee that he won't eventually say anything.
God.
Solid point.
Yeah.
She's because you don't think we kind of glossed over this, but what's the end game here? Sam has the shit scared out from him. He comes back from the party and he's quiet and withdrawn and doesn't want to sleep by himself.
They go home that night. Yeah. They tuck him in. He has nightmares, wakes up screaming.
Yeah.
What's wrong, Sam? What's wrong?
Yeah.
I can't talk about it.
Yeah. Carol said she'd kill me if I did. Like, there's not, it was an awesome scene, but I don't know if it's the best way to play it.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's taken drastic precautions before. True. And now that they've sneaked the guns out, she might be more inclined to do so. I'm surprised she wasn't shown mentioning to Rick and Daryl, which I imagine would have convinced them to return the guns in case of keeping an inventory, which would be the only logical thing in a storage room.
Yeah.
One of the cool things about this season, this half season, is the playing with Rick as the bad guys.
Yeah.
Rick as the governor. What if Rick has to put Carol down?
Look at the flowers, Carol.
Yeah. Or banishment part 2.
Yeah, it could be man, if she gets double banished, she needs to give up on communities.
Double banished. Well, she kind of brings it on herself, though, right?
She does. That's the thing. She needs
like
to just
killing
stop.
sick people and dragging them outside and burning them is extreme. Threatening a child with tying them to a tree and leaving them for zombie food, also extreme.
Yeah.
Tim from Melbourne, has Carol becomes a psychopath by the standards of normal pre-zombie apocalypse world? What do you think, man?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. What's your definition of psychopath?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I've had relatives scare me in similar fashion, and it was just considered good, clean fun. So I get it that we're in the 21st century, and kids are put on pedestals and whatnot. But in the context of the zombie apocalypse, this is essentially old Nan, Game of Thrones, Sweet Summer Child shit.
Yeah, I feel like it's also a little different when, like,
she's also planning the violent overthrow of the community. You can't forget that.
Sure, there's that, but also this is not her kid or even her brother or sister's kid. Like, this isn't family. This is just some kid.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing.
She's
is like
walking up and threatening the shit out of him.
Right. But on the other hand, she killed. Was it not Leslie?
Lizzie.
She killed Lizzie, and Lizzie violently killed Mika. And then was it Patrick in the showers that got killed? I mean, she's seen a lot of violence around children. Like, little baby ass kicker almost had her neck snapped a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Carl almost got raped at the end of last season. She's essentially just putting the fear of God into this kid.
No, you're right.
From her perspective, I think that this is just, Carl would hear this and not even bat an eyelash. So she's just giving a sheltered, coddled kid a little bit of something to think about. Now, is that psychotic from pre-zombie apocalypse standards? I don't know.
My gut says yes. My gut says child abuse, but like mental child abuse, emotional abuse.
Tim also asked, do you think that Rick is vastly more interesting character from the Boy Scout of earlier seasons? I think Andrew Lincoln has also improved at least 200%. What do you think about that?
He's good. He's good.
I think Rick is definitely more interesting. And he wasn't always a Boy Scout. He's also a screaming psychopath. But this is a much more nuanced, interesting look for Rick.
Yeah, I think I said this a couple of episodes ago when they were first getting to Alexandria. Yeah, I like what Rick has become. I think it's far more interesting than just good guy Rick.
All right, final non-spoiler email. It's Sarah doing a deep dive into the kiss scene.
Oh, okay.
Because she is a Rickophile, and she wants to have Rick's babies.
All right.
So she watched this like the Zapruder film. She's want to talk about the music sound design. As Jesse and Judith approach Rick, the first thing I noticed sound-wise is a high-pitched plinky instrument playing a lullaby. She looked it up. It's actually Away in a Manger, which is weird because it's not just any lullaby, it's a Christmas carol. But as I'm writing this, I'm thinking, I bet that was no accident. I wonder if the creators aren't going for a vibe of Jesse has Virgin Mary type radiant maternity. And because she also,
radiant maternity?
I cut out
I don't even know what that means.
So I cut out a whole preceding multiple paragraphs of her talking about the visual of Jesse standing there with baby on hip, with a very modest but form hugging dress that reveals all of her curves and her hips and her breasts, and Judith's hand is resting on her breast as like a very motherly, like earth matron, earth mother kind of role. So that's kind of all background. Now you're caught up. In any case, Away in a Manger sounds like it's coming from a music box or a baby's hanging mobile. It evokes a child nursery imagery. Away in a Manger persists through the kiss, and after Jesse leaves the scene, it even continues as we cut to the next shot, which Deanna walks towards Sasha, asking her to join other guests in conversation. What I noticed on repeat viewings is that the kiss scene has another layer of sound. In addition to Away in the Manger, in addition to general background noise, I heard this only when I hooked up to the stereo with the volume way up.
Is it a deep 80s synth?
She's listening to this on 11, and she says there's an eerie, very low-pitched, almost sub-audible, sustained music / noise that I can only describe as roiling. This roiling noise persists through the kiss. It persists after Jesse leaves the frame. It persists during a post-kiss close-up on Rick, but the roiling cuts out immediately as the camera cuts to Deanna, even as other sounds, such as Away in a Manger and a general background noise, continue. I believe the roiling is there to work subconsciously, putting me in Rick's head where his thoughts and feelings are, well, roiling away. I think Rick's experienced a booze-addled mix of lust and desire, sensations long dormant in him. And while I doubt he's at the point where he's consciously thinking any of this out, here he is in a situation where the first object of his desire he's had in ages is not available. She, quote-unquote, belongs to someone else, and so just as his desire is reawakened, so is the knowledge that he has an obstacle keeping him from it. Pete / Dr. Trump / civility / humanity, what have you. I think Rick's predatory animal instinct is going to be reactivated. Up until this point, Rick's animal instinct has served to help him and his family survive. Now, for the first time, there's a suggestion that this same animal aggression could be used for taking instead of protecting. Jim, what do you think?
That is definitely a deep dive analysis of this scene, and I appreciate it. I thought it was cool. Those were things that I was not noticing.
We need to go crank that scene up to 11.
I guess so.
We'll hear the dull roar, the roiling.
And I think she brings it all back around to kind of the same points that we made, right? Where Rick, or at least I was worried about him potentially wanting to take Jesse, like he would take this place.
I think he still does.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think he does. That's a very dangerous thing in this community. I firmly believe that his group could take this place, especially as they walked into it. I wonder, as they get more acclimated to it, if his group is going to put up a stink if Rick tries to take this place and tries to take Jesse and all that shit. I imagine the rest of the group, who's acclimating pretty well, is not going to like that.
Yeah, can you imagine Rick just shooting a dude, cold blood in the streets?
Yeah. What would even his group think about that? Rick, why did you do that? Well, Jesse.
Yeah, she's kind of cute. She looked like an Earth mother.
She had a husband.
Did you guys not hear the lullaby in the background? What was I supposed to do?
But you're not paying attention to the low roiling. Come on, Rick.
The roiling in my head is just too loud to ignore.
So it's a volatile situation, and it's something I'm definitely interested in seeing more of as we go forward.
That's all we got. We got some spoiler stuff to consider in the spoiler section, as we are wont to do. If you'd like to add to our email heap, it's graduated to heap status. You can do so at watchingdead@baldmove.com. Get on our forums at forums.baldmove.com and participate in the show threads, or on facebook.com/baldmove, or you can get at Jim on Twitter. Make some funny ha-has.
Yep.
Keep up with the release schedule. It's
Make it quick, though. 140 characters.
140 characters. Tweet longer, whatever. Twit longer is more like it. There you go.
That's it.
Spoiler section. Ahoy.
Yeah, we'll be back right after next week's episode with the Instant Cast, unless you're sticking around for spoilers. And until then, I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
I got It's hot in here, people.
It's hot as
this
fuck
studio.
in here.
It warmed up outside, and the studio is boiling.
Yeah,
it's roiling.
I'm used to needing a hoodie just to stay warm, and now I'm like fucking sweating balls here.
Yeah.
Woo. Woo. Woo.
So what's the plan?
What is the plan?
We gonna do the spoilers right now?
This way, you open the door. We got some airflow going.
Yeah, we needed it. It was.
Whew.
I'm in desperation town
I'm
here.
gonna make it worse.
I'm
bringing the pain.
I really wish you would stop wearing the same hoodie as me.
I'm bringing the pain. Man. I that's it. This is the last week of hoodie for me.
Oh yeah, because it gets too hot in here.
It's time for t-shirt.
I'm with you, man.
All
right, let's do the spoiler thing. Yeah. And we're back with the spoiler section. What do we have this week?
Spoilers. I thought there was a funny kind of foreshadowing for us comic book fans when Deanna's talking about rebuilding society, and she's like, well, maybe it's just with horses and mills, but it's something. We all know from reading the comic books that's exactly what happens.
All right. So Daryl catches a bunch of horses, and
well, Daryl doesn't live in the comic books. Number one,
okay.
But number two, yes, they use horses as steeds, and their big community project is a grain mill, so they can start baking bread and shit again.
Are they plowing the land and
plowing the land, tending the fields.
All right. Well, they got to catch the horses
goats
first, because apparently Aaron is no good at it.
Well, it's something we figured out tens of thousands of years ago. I'm pretty sure we'll figure it out again.
Daryl already knows it.
He's the horse whisperer. Also, I backed away from my bold predictions that Daryl will die. And there's a lot of things to talk about here, but there's a character in a comic book called Jesus, who is called that because he looks like most Judeo-Christian depictions of Jesus. He has long hair and all that stuff, and he's also a very good dude. And he is kind of a badass. He's a fan favorite badass because he's all about this parkour Krav Maga combat style. I'm starting to get the sense that they're going to roll Daryl into that role. And why would you kill a fan favorite just to introduce another fan favorite who's essentially the same guy? Okay.
I don't know anything about Jesus in the comics. What is his role?
You need Jesus, number one.
I need to find Jesus.
His role is he is kind of like, I don't know, your general purpose badass. He goes.
Is
out
he a
on all the
member of
raids.
Alexandria?
I think he's a member of the Hilltop.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly, but he's kind of like a field scout / recruiter / whatever, general badass, strike leader, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Kind of what they're making Daryl to be out. Here's one argument. Norman Reedus is going to, next time I don't know when they do it, but the next time they sign contracts, he's going to want to get paid, right?
I hope so. Yeah.
You could kill him and then reintroduce Jesus as essentially the same character at a steep discount.
You could, but then you got to rebuild a character who is one of the most beloved characters on the show. And most interesting characters.
Yeah, AMC's want to be penny pinching is...
You're right. Never.
That's one thing we didn't talk about the main cast because it just kind of broke news lately. Is that we've got a summer release for the Walking Dead spinoff, and they've already ordered it from pilot to 2 seasons.
Yeah,
similar to the Better Call Saul treatment. And there was a lot of talk about on the last podcast where AMC was kind of playing hardball with them. So I don't know how. I don't know. What are you thinking about the new series? Are you excited for it? Because honestly, I can't honestly say I'm excited for it. Not having anything do I want more Walking Dead in my life? My first thought is no, I do not.
Yeah, if you're pressing the reset button and telling me that you're going to make what I can only assume is a less good version of The Walking Dead.
Well, but so why do we think that? Because one of the things we've bitched about
is they put their fucking A-team on Walking Dead, right? They're not going to leave. They're not going to send a bunch of writers over to this other show and say, well, we got to replace them with some okay writers. That would ruin what's good about the show, I feel like.
The writing staff?
No, granted.
I was like, that's a scary thought that they dilute the writing pool.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They've got to keep the good stuff that they've got going on The Walking Dead going.
Alternatively, they split it up and just dilute the both equally.
Oh, God. Well, then that makes that doesn't interest me at all.
Okay.
I don't want to see two subpar versions of The Walking Dead. I want to see The Walking Dead and then some other more interesting take on this world. Because I can't imagine creating another group of characters from scratch and saying they're in the same world, they're in the same scenarios, but we think you're going to care about them too. Because I'm not going to. I've seen it once in Walking Dead. Why do I want to see it again?
I'll tell you.
Unless it's very different.
One of the things that we have bemoaned is the fact that we never saw the fall of civilization. Okay. This show, from what I've heard early in the press, is intended, and of course it's weird that they're going to order this as series and they're going to have it out by summer, which I guess could be August, could be July, who knows. Usually for this kind of stuff, it means June, July. That's pretty aggressive if they only have a pilot to shoot. I guess they need 7 more episodes. Never mind. I withdraw that.
I wonder if they could be subverting Kirkman in a way. Like maybe Kirkman's got too much control and say over this and doesn't want to do CDC type stuff, but they want to get back to some of that stuff. And so
this is a way
they're going to give you a different showrunner, different show.
Yeah.
And really explore the things that they have no desire to explore in Walking Dead in that show.
I mean, honestly, the fall of civilization, I think, is interesting. Now, one thing that I'm on guard for is I think it's hokey, the idea that like the zombie apocalypse just spreads. And I don't, it's like there's very limited, the mechanics of it. Every time I try to read serious takes on how the zombie apocalypse could actually occur, whether it's World War Z, whether it's the survival handbook, whatever, it always feels stupid to me. Like I'm interested in the stories, but when I see how the stories arise, I'm like, that can't happen. That fucking can't happen. One zombie gets drugged behind the lines and a whole company of Marines, and now suddenly all the Marines are zombies. What the fuck?
Yeah,
the Marines suddenly lost the ability to deal with an unarmed combatant.
Yeah, I don't know about like the military being infested by zombies. It's probably gonna happen just because in a war people are gonna die.
But it's like, do you want to see the first 15 minutes of every George Romero zombie film stretched out over 2 or 3 seasons?
I've seen it so many times that probably no.
Right. So that is my big I mean, on one hand, I'm fascinated. I think I would like to see more of that. But second hand, I'm not sure how mechanically it's going to hang together. And I've also seen it not particularly done well, but I've seen it enough that it's like it feels like it's going to kind of be old hat. I have a lot of concerns, and we'll have to see the trailers, and we'll have to see who's running it and all that stuff. But 3 years ago, I know we said it would be a day 1 cover. I can't make that promise now.
No, I'm not going to make any promises on it.
Like if True Detective and Fargo and The Leftovers are dropping right there, fuck the spinoff. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Matt from Daly, California said, you guys have given some predictions of good actors to play Negan if the writers decide to go the route of including him in the television show. But I don't think you've mentioned one particular actor, Dominic West. Do you know Dominic West?
Yeah, McNulty from The Wire. Yeah.
The Walking Dead seems to like to use former actors from The Wire, and the actor known for his role as Jimmy McNulty would be perfect. West has also played the part of villains in other roles, such as Theron from 300 and Jigsaw from Punisher: The War Zone. I could see West playing the manic role of Negan. Thoughts? I think Jimmy McNulty is kind of an asshole.
Sure, yeah.
Like, you just need Negan to be a maniacal asshole. Can he play that role? Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Why not?
He's a little more refined than my vision of Negan, but what the hell?
Okay.
Dan from Manchester, England said, following on your conversation last week about Morgan potentially being Negan, I think a more plausible theory or route that they could take is that Morgan could turn out to be the TV version of Dwight Schrute, of course, he's speaking. It'd be a bit weird if they stuck with the original version of Dwight from the comics, since Daryl is based on this character so much. If Morgan did take on the role of Negan's right-hand man and then found out that Rick was at Alexandria, it would still create conflict, the kind of conflict that Dwight and Negan had, and give Rick a guy on the inside of the Saviors. Not sure how they fit it in timeline-wise, but when has it ever stopped them from doing something before? Are you familiar with Dwight?
No, not at all.
Dwight is, as they say, Negan's second-hand man who is conflicted because he sees Negan as being an asshole. Negan has this penchant for taking other men's wives, and if the men have any problem with it, he burns their face with an iron.
Are we sure that Rick's not going to become Negan?
That would be super interesting and a way
Or
to
maybe
get.
they're just borrowing a trait from Negan.
No, I think it's more of
Taking
a
the other
Shane
man's
echo.
wife.
I like
Okay.
Yardley's comment that the lobes are strong with Shane or with
Oh, yeah.
Rick right now.
Yeah.
All
right. Yeah, I don't know anything about Dwight, but
so they would
if
have to
he's
figure out
kinda
a way
questioning-
to come up with conflict between Alec from his right hand man and Negan. So if Morgan was that and he found out about Rick, but Morgan is a wild card.
he is really, yeah.
He's crazy, but not the type of crazy with the run with Negan.
Yeah, he's crazy in the way that he's going to do his own thing, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Not be anybody's secondhand man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, Edwin C. Said, first I want to mention a few trivia facts that I learned that were mildly interesting. One is Negan was never supposed to exist in the comics. Instead, Rick was supposed to kill Glenn when confronted with an issue of saving him or someone else. Kirkman decided to scrap this, and Negan was born. Also, Alexandria is filmed in the same city as Woodbury and can be noticed if you look carefully during the show. That I think is fascinating because I did not get a Sonoya vibe from Alexandria at all. And also, I thought Alexandria was built as a dedicated set. I thought I saw construction photos. I don't know where you're getting this information, Edwin, and I'm not doubting you, but I would say citation needed.
So, I mean, maybe it's possible that those pictures were coming from Richmond.
Man, it didn't look like Richmond either. I mean,
I
you remember those?
Yeah, I do.
But also, you're right, because it was
more
like apartment complexes with walls around them.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And it could also be an apartment complex or whatever in Sonoya. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. Sonoya is a good place for them to shoot because they have a lot of relationships
be good
there.
and also be good for the town,
good for the community. They want their tax breaks in Georgia, that kind of stuff.
They definitely seem like they're very embrace their role as stage set for Walking Dead. So them getting another bite at that apple, I'd be happy for them. But I'm
waiting for the spinoff to shoot in Georgia. Set in Los Angeles, shooting in Georgia. I don't know how you make that work.
Hey, if they can film Justified in LA, then for damn sure Georgia can pass for Los Angeles.
Yep.
This episode had comic references all over. I mentioned a few, but with it, a bit of the Kirkman remix added to it. The only one that stays true to the comic is Michonne hanging up her katana. This is almost exactly as she does in the comics, thinking she's finally seen the last of the days and she will no longer have to use it. Except in the comics, she has a flashback to all the times she's had to use it. That's hard to do. You know, as she's hanging up, she's seeing. Well, actually, that's very easy to do.
Yeah, just show the flashbacks.
Damn it, Kirkman! What the hell? The next reference was Buttons the horse. In the comics, Buttons is a horse Maggie owns from her farm, which she brings with her to the prison and then on to Alexandria. From that point, Aaron uses Buttons, but also during confrontation, he is stolen and his current whereabouts are unknown. Carol.
So it's a. Okay, I like that twist.
Yeah,
I like the twist that Buttons is at Alexandria, but he just gets fucking eaten, like right off the bat.
No, I like that's the kind of
like comic books readers are going, oh, Buttons.
Yeah,
they're gonna catch Buttons. He's gonna be Aaron's. Nope.
From that point forward, or wait a second, Carol unlocking the window is also out of the comics, except this mission is pulled off by Glenn and Daryl refusing the gun at the end is performed by Andrea. The rest of the references are interesting as they all involve Sasha, but she's not a character in the comics, so they're all performed by someone else. She's obviously taken the role of Andrea now from the comics as she asked to become a sniper in the tower, which was Andrea's job, and also seems to have caught the eye of Spencer, who she has a brief relationship with. I thought Aiden had taken the place of Spencer, but in another Kirkman remix, he gave Deanna an extra son as Aiden doesn't exist in the comics. The last reference is Sasha's freak out at the party. This is right out of the comics, except it's performed by Michonne. He has a prediction for the rest of the season. Whoa, I lost my place here. I think the rest of the season will lead up to the aftermath of Rick gaining complete power in Alexandria. In the comics, after Regina, who is Reg in the comic or in the series, you know, we talked about Douglas being the mayor, Regina being his wife. Here we've got Deanna the mayor and Reg as her husband. After Reg/Regina is killed, Douglas orders Rick to kill Peter, which is Dr. Trump in the series, and he does so. The gunshot is heard by a group called DC Scavengers, who then find and attack Alexandria in an all-out effort to take it.
The wolves.
Exactly. I think this will be another Kirkman remix, as we saw the zombie in the episode with the W on his forehead, and then back at Noah's camp, someone tagged the wall with the wolves are near. The gunshots from this fight are heard by an enormous herd who arrived at Alexandria and knocked down the walls and entered the city.
Yeah.
Rick tries to leave by doing the cover yourself in zombie guts routine, but it fails, and he and the group he is with find themselves fighting off zombies. Douglas, who is Deanna in the show, sees this and tries to help by coming out of his house and shooting zombies, but he's also bit as by one and loses control and fires a bullet right into Carl's head. Rick takes Carl to his doctor's house in Alexandria, and then he and Michonne return outside to continue fighting. The rest of the group sees this, and one by one, each person enters the fight until all the zombies are killed and Alexandria is reclaimed. This is where I don't know how far the show will go for its ending. In the aftermath of all this, it's Rick rebuilding Alexandria, so it's a force to be reckoned with, and soon after the arrival of Jesus. But like I said, I don't know how far they can go, as this is a lot to do with only 3 episodes left.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like they are definitely setting an arc where Alexander will be penetrated by zombie/human attackers and have to swallow a bag of cement and get hard.
Yes, please. I want to see a giant wave of walkers.
Is that something they can fit in these final 3 episodes?
I feel like one of these episodes has to be Rick dealing with Dr. Trump.
Yep. And that's almost a whole episode by itself.
Yes. With, side plots. Maybe the very last episode we can get to that, and that would be a shit show, just killing people left and right. And
I was thinking there's one more thing of domestic thing, which is Reg is going to get killed trying to intervene in between a possible Jesse/Peter/Dr. Trump fight.
Damn.
Rick has to break it up, and Rick has to execute this guy.
So Dr. Trump and Reg are going to fight, and Rick is going to break it up?
No. So I guess what I think is going to happen is Dr. Trump is going to be slapping around Jesse.
Okay.
Reg is going to try to jump in there. He's going to try to be the wall.
He's going to get his ass kicked.
He's going to get his ass probably killed.
Yeah.
And then Rick is going to have to pass judgment on Peters, which is interesting because he is already coveting that his neighbor's wife.
Sure. It's a pretty easy decision for him.
Right. So then the second episode, could you fit in a full-scale invasion by the wolves? And that's a full onslaught episode, followed by a 3rd episode where the herd breaks through. That's a lot of fucking budget. Now
it is
the devil's advocate, because remember we had a rocking season season opener to start off this with the Terminus thing, and then we had a whole bunch of string of bullshit. We've had a string of bullshit. And this has been pretty awesome, but low budget. Oh,
yeah.
Could they be saving up for 2 just giant set piece episodes, one after another, drop the mic, and then we're like ready to rebuild Alexandria next season?
I hope so.
It feels like a lot for this show to get in for 3 episodes, though.
You know how long I've been asking for a herd of walkers to come
push down the cold rolled steel.
Yeah, man.
Push down. Carlos from New York City said, for a while now, I've been reading or wondering as the group has moved to Alexandria and are going further into the comics, what will remain the same and what will get the Kirkman remix treatment. Of the important plot points that I've been wondering about most is the gunshot to Carl's eye and whether or not they're going to have the balls to do this on AMC to a child. And now I know they've been willing to have.
Wait. Child is not the protective safety net that it is on other series, honestly.
Yes, but blowing half his face off is a little different than look at the flowers and
pants shooting
you off camera.
Yeah, but pants shitting terror from last episode for this child.
It's not the same thing.
I don't feel like children are safe. I don't feel like main characters are safe. That's one thing they've done a really good job, at least for me, is saying nobody's safe here. Except for Rick.
So now they have been willing to have a character's eye removed in a grisly manner previously with the governor. And the only reason I think they wouldn't do it similarly is because Carl walks around with his eye uncovered for a ridiculous amount of time.
Asshole.
In the comics. And you can almost clearly see through his head from the wound. Yet he eventually covers his eye socket. But sometimes it is uncovered. Most famously when Negan has Carl captured. My memory serves correctly, he even threatens to fuck Carl's eye socket. That won't happen on AMC, I can almost guarantee.
Yep.
I just don't see the writers of this show letting things go that far after watching this last episode. I thought another possibility we missed a period there. I don't think the show will let things go that far. After watching the last episode, I thought of another possibility that could tie up some loose ends and have the characters avoiding having to deal with the cost of CGIing a hole through Chandler's head. One thing I want to put in here is if you've seen Boardwalk Empire, the character of Shit, I just gone blank. Jack Houston is what I want to say. God damn, my favorite character, and I blanked on the name. Christ, this is embarrassing. Richard Harrow.
Yes.
Boom.
There you go.
Jesus. They did a great job at once a season, they'd show us the full horrifying visage of him. The rest of it was covered by almost entirely by a tin mask.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that they could get away with. I don't think it's objectionable for him to suffer a grievous wound because he's kind of like a middle teenager at this point, not exactly a child. And two, they could most of the time cover it up with the hat and a massive bandage / eye patch, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And I think it'd be kind of cool.
What if they shot Sam in the face?
Sure, fine. What if Carol shoots Sam in the face?
Well, I don't know.
Where are you going with that? Because
I'm saying it'd be very easy to shoot a more minor character in the face, not have to worry about the CG stuff so much. Not like I don't know how much does that affect Carl? That's gotta affect Carl a lot.
Yeah,
as much as cutting off Rick's hand. Is that something Kirkman is okay with?
It doesn't affect. No, I mean, I guess it affects him character wise, but like from an able-bodied standpoint, he makes a full recovery.
Really?
Yeah.
No depth perception problems.
Well, maybe. I mean, obviously, but Nick Fury does all right. Anyway, he says, I've got an alternative thing here going on. He says, Carl accidentally gets shot during a walker attack on Alexander right after Rick has to chop off Jesse's arm to free Carl from being eaten by the same horde that's feasting on her. What if they replace Carl with little baby ass kicker?
Shoot off half her face?
We then lose the dead weight of Judith. Carl gets to save his eye. It makes for a traumatic experience for all involved. By this time, we could showcase the baby a little more so that there's some emotional connection with her and the viewers. I don't think you need to, man. Blowing a baby's face off is going to peg the viewer involvement.
I wasn't invested in this baby enough to really feel the effect of blowing its face off.
Yeah, that's going to get people, I think. That's going to get people.
I'm with you, man.
Right in the heartstrings. Oh, Jesus. How do I get through here? Carl could then become reclusive after losing his little sister. Fine. Like that. Could be part of the catalyst for him single-handedly attacking the saviors. It's a stretch. And for all I know, they're going to give him the situation, the Rick's hands treatment just to avoid the trouble altogether. Though I think this could definitely be an interesting alternative. I'm a big fan. As much shit as I get for saying this, I'm a big fan of baby ass kicker going the way of the dodo.
Yeah.
Because I don't see how this ends up any other way than the fucking Full House of the Apocalypse. I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah. However, I think you overestimate how much time it takes to put a I feel like that Carl's makeup job could be fairly rudimentary. It's a little bit of facial scarring and a hat and a patch.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even actually that hard to just slap a green screen on the kid and do one pass where you make the model for it and then you're done.
You might do one per season of showing him in his full disgusting glory. Yeah, but that's very doable with the budget this show's got, and and look at what Nicotero is able to do just practically. Anyway, thanks for the email. Moving on to Harry P. said, last one, by the way. In the comics, Carl's worried about getting weak in Alexander and is reluctant to accept his new way of life. However, in the TV series, Daryl seems to be playing out the reluctant storyline. I think the season will end not with Carol, but Daryl getting shot in the face. This is the theory of the Carl face edition mailbag.
Apparently so.
We all know the show can't kill Daryl for a while at least. This way, we could spend all off-season wondering if he's dead. It would definitely help him not seem so untouchable. And while Carl has long hair all ready to cover a head wound, I think Daryl has even better hair for head wound covering. It's been covering that eye for 2 seasons now anyway. Eye wound Daryl would also be so fucking badass. Out of all these possibilities, which is your favorite one? Daryl getting the eye socket blown out treatment?
Judith. Yeah. Just blast Judith's head off. I think that would be the funniest. No, I think, with Daryl's hair, man, it makes perfect sense.
Oh man,
just cover it up.
Yeah, I get so much shit every time I advocate for baby Judith to get killed.
Why? I've been waiting for Zombaby anyway. What does it matter if its head is blown off?
I don't know. Maybe you're too far of a crazy man, too far gone to bother sending hate mail too. But it's all like,
Perhaps,
I can't believe
yeah.
you're suggesting that they kill a baby. Well, there, I just suggested it.
All right.
Off screen can be off. It can be look at the flowers, baby Judith. But yeah, I don't think AMC has the wherewithal to blow a child, a baby's head off.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is a bridge too far.
They threatened it with her getting her neck snapped. I don't know where to calibrate my morality with this show.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Okay.
It keeps you on your toes, keeps you guessing.
Sure.
I think that's a fine thing for this show to do.
All right. That's a podcast, man.
Yeah, it is. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Of course, we'll be back next week after the show. And during the show, we do live watches if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
And you can get that as a Club Bald Move member. Until then, I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron. See ya.